everybody. Welcome to another episode of Rescued Reviews. How is everybody doing tonight? Doing good. Miss Margo, how are you? Can't complain. So, I'd like to take a minute and let Miss Margo introduce herself and tell us a little bit about who she is. That's perfect, honestly. We're muted? What? Yeah, we do. Oh my god. No sound from her. No sound from who? Alright, so... No, they can't hear her, babe. Yeah, that's because I'm working on it.
Okay, so we can talk about anything. They can't hear us. It's a curry.
All right, can y'all hear Miss Margo now?
Hi, can you guys all hear me now?
It's going to take about 10 seconds for them to give us some feedback.
All right.
Yay!
Yay, they can hear me. Okay.
They can kind of hear Kelly. Well, I can move the microphone closer. Does this work? Can you hear me louder?
Kelly. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Margo?
Yeah, it looks like my brother's on there. He said that they can hear us.
Okay, awesome. Sorry about that, guys. And
Dangle clacks.
gotta love dangle clacks.
Okay, so do you want me to reintroduce myself here, or?
Yes,
Sure.
please.
All right. So once again, my name is Margo Ross. I live in Moses Lake, Washington, over here in the Pacific Northwest. I own a shop called Cloud 509 Moses Lake. As of this point, we're the only shop in Moses Lake. There was one more that closed down because of the flavor ban. I did own another shop in Kennewick, Washington, that I had to close down because of the taxes and flavor bans that we're fighting here in Washington. That was Dr. Good Babe. I have owned my shop for about 2 years.
Awesome.
Oh, it's echoing everything I say. It's making it epic, huh? Wonderful.
That's okay.
That's because
okay.
that's on my end. I'm trying to get that to go away.
We're still new to everything.
Everything on the
That's
show
okay.
will run flawlessly, I promise everybody.
If it runs flawlessly, it means we've been doing this for too long.
Right?
Well, this is the Liz. If you haven't met him before, this is him.
He is our blackberry cornbread pudding flavor. He got that flavor because he's a little ball of crazy. And we needed a flavor that fit his personality. He is super sweet, but he's also very bold, and he's just an epic little dog. So we needed a flavor that just matched him. So if you got to go to the Central PA Vape Expo, you got to meet him. He just turned 1 in October. He is our tiny little trash panda because he looks like a raccoon. And he's my little buddy today. So we always have at least one dog with us, and today it's Velez. And for those who don't know, it's Velez, not Vels. So Velez is
He's an awesome dog. Ms. Margo, I'm making sure everybody can hear us again since I just switched back over to the headphones. And if they can, would you like to introduce your little puppers?
We thought he was going to be a lot smaller than he is because he was skinny and he was small. My two teenage girls, I actually saw a picture of a different one I was going to look at, and he was up on his fence and he was smiling and happy, and my two teenage girls actually cried until I said that we could walk him and see what he was like, and we ended up bringing him home. And he did not stay small, obviously. he is a big oaf and a big baby. So this is our baby.
Most pits are. They're just giant sponges.
He is. He's. I know. Love. He's not supposed to be on the couch, and right now he gets to be. So he's a very happy boy. But yes, this is Hercules. He's our wonderful boy.
He's a beautiful pup.
Thank you. Are you good? He's like, play with me, Mom. He just wants to play. This is what he wants to do. He does when he wants to play. He pulls our hands, like trying to pull us off of wherever we are. So
that's pretty much like what Velez does. Velez will grab our hands with his paw and just like pull it into him.
Or he'll wait until you're walking and like jump on the back of your knees, and he puts like all of his 20 pounds into like his paws and like almost knocks you over because he's jumping real hard into the back of your knee. So.
Hercules does that as well, and he hugs the back of you, and he'll hug your legs. He just doesn't realize his size, and if you're not ready for it, you will hit the ground.
I believe that 100%.
Yeah, he's a big boy, and he doesn't realize his size. He's very, very gentle for his size, but he doesn't realize how big he is. Yeah. Okay, Hercules, thank you.
All right, so now that everybody can hear us, there is going to be a little bit of an echo this episode. I'm sorry, tough shit. I'm doing the best I can. I don't know why it's not working this time when it's worked the last 2 times flawlessly almost. So,
stuff happens.
But now that everybody can hear everybody, Ms. Margo, why don't you lead with what your vape buffet is tonight?
All right, so I'm going to kind of put my table back to where I had it since I don't have to have Hercules, and I will kind of show you.
Awesome.
Hercules, no, you can't get on my chair. Okay, he thinks he's a big baby. So I have my grip that I am using. I love this grip. It kind of went under there. The owner of Immortal kind of gave this up to me. I didn't have a mech. Actually, I did. I had a little jot mod that I was using, and he kind of laughed at me. And so I have a problem. I have arthritis in my hands, and so I can't use regular mechs. And so he gave this up to me. He was keeping this one. It was the last of this color. I fell in love with this one. We were the show, and so he gave this one up to me. So I love my Immortal, my grip. With that, I am using. So we're in a flavor ban here in Washington State, guys. I think everybody knows that. So I have, ready? We are allowed 2 different flavors. We are allowed unflavored. So I have River Reserve unflavored e-liquid, PG, VG, and nicotine. Yay! River Reserve is an amazing company owned by some Washingtonians. They have been absolutely wonderful with us through this. So that's great. And actually, unflavored is not that terrible. It's not what we want, but it's not terrible. It's just kind of sweet, so it's not bad, guys.
Now, is there any kind of sweetener or anything put in there?
No, but from is it PG or VG that's sweet? One of them.
Okay.
it's just got a little bit of a sweet taste from it, but there's no sweetener in it at all. And then we have one that's called Fuji. This is a tobacco. Our governor is Jay Inslee. I do not have a love for our governor, and I'm saying this nicely. A local company made this, but it's F.U. Jay Inslee is what Fuji comes from.
I love it.
And he made this, and he sent it free to all of the Washington shops. Oh, Hercules! Sorry. Thank God. Hercules, no. And he sent it to all the shops. So we all got this Fuji, the F.U.J. Inslee e-liquid. And I am using, yeah. And I also have one of my dot mods that I'm using. So that's what I'm using right now.
That's awesome. All right, Miss Kelly.
Well, so everyone knows that I always have my own boy with the dead rabbit and the DHD red rum tip, and inside I always have my vengeance. He's my good boy, and I just love it. Banana caramely goodness. But I decided I was going to be a little bit crazy, and I did something that I haven't done in a long time, and I broke out some liquids that I haven't vaped in forever because they're good, and I wanted to do that. So I have my witch with, I don't know whose cap that is, but inside of my witch, I have my old tester bottle of Revenge Nerd.
There you go.
Just the one nerd. You don't get more than one. That's kind of what it tastes like. And then I wanted to show some love to some amazing sponsors for our Waffle, and I brought out my fancy schmancy wedding purge with the Asgard RDA on top. And because it's a show for the ladies today, we have Pinup Christie, which I forget what they actually say the profile is, but to me, it tastes like a pina colada. So that's why I just kind of like it. What do you have, Nick?
So I went with a hodgepodge of stuff. And I'm not doing my normal, so I don't have Ben, and I don't have Benthol on anything, which is a first for me tonight. So
Oh, that's weird.
I know, right? So I have my Aegis X with the Falcon King on top. And inside of there, well, one of my old favorites, Strawberries Down Under. It's a phenomenal strawberry. It really is. Then we're kind of matching, Miss Margo. I pulled, since I can't find my OG grip, I have my nice, rescued colored grip with the Apocalypse on top.
Beautiful.
And I believe this is a crispy cap on here. And then inside of there, since we can now finally tell everybody what the mystery juice is that we're doing, this is Neko, a snickerdoodle custard by us. It's in the pack leader line. And then last but not least, we're big fans of Frames Jenkin's, the Green Room, and also Vaping with the Omi. So I kind of got inspired. Y'all have all seen my Tenacious Unicorn. And, then we have the Death Bush RDA on top with a green chop top, or not chop top, a green chubby. But I went with a liquid that is lime, and soda.
Okay.
And it's actually, we got this when we went to the Florida convention. It's by PSI Liquid, or PSI Quid, and it is actually phenomenal. It's just like a nice lime soda. It really is. So it's kind of cool because I haven't had a good lime soda in a long, long time. The only other lime that I really like is the Sad Boy.
Oh, the Sad Boy one was good.
Yeah.
The Sad Boy is phenomenal.
I love the Sad Boy one.
Have you tried their new fruit lineup yet, Margo?
No, we're in a flavor ban. We can't get anything sent to us.
Oh,
We can't even get it mailed to us.
I forgot.
Really?
I'm sorry.
Really?
Yeah, so no, I haven't tried any of the new stuff at all. And let me tell you, it's been a horrible dry spell.
So once it's lifted, we'll have to get all the guys to just flood your mailbox with all the flavors.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
We will call in every favor, be like, hey, we need you to flood Margo with all of it.
I'll reach out to Andy over at Sad Boy and see if he's willing to send some stuff your way now. If he doesn't want to send it to you, I'll have him send it to me, and I will mail it up to you.
Well, our executive order flavor ban ends at 1:00 p.m., actually 12:28 p.m. on the 7th. So Friday, not this Friday, next Friday. So we're close. We're close. We're still fighting bills. We don't know how long we'll have, if they pass those bills, but we're close on the executive order. They can't just pass the bills quick enough to stop us for a while, but we'll see.
Well, so can you tell us a little bit about how everything, me and you talked, I can't speak, words never work for me evidently. We talked a little bit about how you went to the Senate last week.
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of just like tell everybody kind of what happened and what went on over there? Because we all have ideas. I haven't been to the Senate. I know Kelly's never been. And a lot of people, we all, like I said, all have ideas, but none of us actually know.
Sure. So I have testified in front of the House and Senate for the last few years every time they try to pass a bill on us. But it's been in open public commentary that I've done it. This is the first year that they have decided, and it was this particular leader of this committee that decided, instead of having 50 people speak for 30 seconds, let's have a expert panel of 6 people, or for 30 seconds, talk for 3 minutes. And there will be 6 people for us and 6 people for the opposition to be able to speak in front of the Senate, in front of this panel. So, and that was amazing. And the only reason that happened was because we have a gentleman here in Washington who went and spoke with them, a couple gentlemen, with our lobbyists. And they came to, but that would be a much better way to do things rather than have 50 people try to rush through it. So I was asked to speak on this panel of 6, along with 5 other amazing Washington business owners. It was a little frightening because, when I'm mixed in with a bunch of other public, if I mess up and say something wrong, someone else is probably going to mess up worse. If I mess up the worst, then there's something wrong. But when I'm on a panel of 6, or when you're on a panel of 6 and you mess up, you're probably going to stick out. So, yeah. So it was a little frightening. It was a little unnerving. But if you've never testified in front of them, they sit up there and they face you, and you have to go up to the microphone, and they put these little lights beside you, and they're green, and then they turn yellow, and then they turn red, and you have to stop. That's it. So you have to make sure you get through your whole testimony, and we had these all typed out and ready to go and memorized. Well, what happened was the opposition went right before us, and Sean DeSilva was able to get us last. So we were the last ones that they heard, thank goodness. What happened was the opposition that went right before us, they snuck an extra person on, so they got 7 people.
Well, that's not cool. Did you guys get a 7th person?
What happened was the leader of the committee, or the person that was running this committee, and it was the health committee, she decided to give us each an extra minute because we didn't have a 7th person and we weren't sneaking an extra person on, so she gave us each an extra minute to speak.
That's
awesome. You guys
awesome.
followed the rules.
We did. Mm-hmm.
That should have worked in your favor at least a little bit. Like, hey, you guys said do this, and we did that.
Right. We did. We absolutely did. But it fouled us. At least it fouled me up a little bit because I had my testimony all basically memorized and ready to go for the 3 minutes, and then she's like, "Oh, you get an extra minute." Oh, geez. All right. And when I usually go up and testify in front of them, I don't write anything down. I speak from the heart and emotion, and I don't, there's so many people that go up and talk about numbers and statistics that I don't do that. I go up and talk about my experiences and what I'm feeling. Hercules, you cannot have that. And stop it. And this time, we were more about making sure they had the information. So I wasn't going up and talking about my feelings and emotions and how pissed off I was that my shops were being closed and I had to put people in the unemployment line. So to fill in that extra minute, I had to slow down and I had to throw in some extra sentences and some extra words. So it was a little more unnerving, but it went absolutely amazing. It went so well doing it that way. And our speakers all did really, really well. We have not heard anything back yet. We thought that it was supposed to be Monday. Our lobbyists thought that they would vote on it Monday. It's now Wednesday and it still hasn't moved at all. We've not seen anything. So I don't know, it could be good. I came out of there very optimistic. We all did. I think we all felt like we gave them a lot of information that they didn't have. Some of the senators asked some great questions and things that they didn't know. Some of them were talking about how a ban would not work, that teenagers are going to get it, flavors, vape juice, one way or the other.
Yep.
One lady was completely, Senator Rivers was completely against the ban, completely, which was amazing because it seemed to me like she was helping out with our narrative.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. It was great. A lot of times you don't walk out of those things feeling good, but this time I felt like we went in there with a lot of facts, with a lot of information, where the opposition, it was teenage kids, it was a principal, it was a couple of scientists. I felt like they went in with emotion and we went in with facts, and it made a huge difference.
Yeah. Now, is there a timeline that they have to vote on it by before it kind of gets pushed off or dismissed in general?
Yeah, it has to move out of the Rules Committee. So out of this committee into the Rules Committee and out of that committee by the 7th of February. So by next Friday. So it has to go from where we're at now to another committee and out of that committee by the 7th of February before it's dropped. But then there's actually three other bills, but one's about advertising that we're not fighting on at all because it just says you can't advertise on billboards and buses. We're fine with that because who does that anyway?
Actually, there's a lot of people that do.
Do you?
No,
Oh.
we don't. But in Ohio, we're allowed to.
Yeah, and in New York, there's a lot of vape shops that actually do. When I went up there and I was stuck in horrible New York traffic, I got cursed out by like a 70-year-old lady that told me to go fuck myself and to grow a pair.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I was FaceTiming Will, the Steel Valley guy on chat, who we call Dad.
Right.
And I'm sitting in traffic, and he's like, "You're really mad. I've never seen your face this red before." He goes, "You just need to breathe." I'm like, "I'm breathing. I fucking want to murder everybody right now. I'm glad Kelly made me leave my gun at the house right now." And he's like,
Grandma just cussed you out, huh?
Calm the fuck down, Nick. And I was like, "Okay, fine then." So I called Kelly up, and I'm telling her what happened. And this guy pulls up next to me and just starts flicking me off and yelling at me. But there was easily in the probably 5-mile area, at least 6 billboards with different vape stores, liquid lines, and actual vape stores on billboards.
Right. And I think it's allowed here, you just don't see it. And obviously it's allowed if they're doing a bill over it, but we feel like you have to give and take. And if we're fighting the flavor ban bill, they can have the advertising bill. You know what I mean? We'd rather be able to have our flavors back than fight over the advertising.
Yeah.
It's kind of a give and take situation. So that one we're not fighting much, at all. But there are 2 bills that are flavor ban in the House, not the Senate, but in the House. So if the Senate one doesn't move or gets voted out, then we have to fight the House bills. So they did this, one's a mirror bill, so it's the same exact one as the Senate. And the Senate bill, you guys, this is ridiculous. It's prohibition. What they're trying to do is they have, you can't sell tanks any bigger than 2 milliliters. All juice bottles are no bigger than 10 milliliters. There's a 20 milligram cap.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Okay, but tell me, and here's what I brought up, SKUs are done to be sold through the FDA, correct? Mm-hmm. Who's going to produce 10 milliliter bottles for us?
Is that a bottle of Northwest Finest you have right there? Rockin' Seas by any chance?
Yes, it is. It's my favorite. And Angela and Matthew are one of my amazing friends. So Yes.
We actually, yep, there he is. He's got it.
I found it yesterday. Signed by,
yep.
signed by the captain. He
That's
sent it up
awesome.
to us. That was like, because we were one of the first shops in Ohio to ever bring that in.
Amazing line, amazing people, very amazing people.
Yeah.
The line, I can agree with you 100% behind all that. That line
Yeah.
is fantastic. It's the best bombsicle I've ever had.
Yes, it is.
It's
Very
really
much so. Very much so.
Like, and to any juice manufacturers out there watching, sorry but not sorry, that stuff is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
They are, and when you put their 3 juices together, it makes a full ship. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yep, we knew that.
So yeah, it's amazing.
That's how we had it on the shelf, and people would come and be like, "What is that?" And like once we explained to them that it is a liquid that was, by the Northwestern, and I was like, "But don't worry, it doesn't taste like fish." And like people would
That was
laugh. and they were
everybody's
like,
comment. Does it taste like fish? Like, no, that'd
Yeah,
be horrible.
yeah. That's
the
just something that
first
would.
thing. And I'm like, it doesn't taste like fish. Just try it. And of the 3 flavors, there's always one flavor that pretty much everyone can get behind. I mean, if you don't like the sour one, you'll probably like the Rockin' Seas, or you might even like the Arctic.
Right.
So I'm not gonna lie, their Arctic Seas gave us the inspiration for Vendetta.
Really, yeah.
Yes.
I am not a menthol person, but I like the Arctic Seas because it's not a harsh, heavy menthol.
Yeah, I mean, and Vendetta, that's exactly what I have right here in the Vaporessa. I just didn't show that one because
Don't tell people what Vendetta is, though, because it's a secret.
I'm not listing the flavor profile. But if anybody knows what Arctic Seas is, oops.
I might know now.
Well, our Patreon probably knows, because I tell them everything.
Yeah, and I know
Yeah.
Dad knows because I tell
It's
Dad
Dad.
everything. I gotta stop
Yeah,
telling him
they're
everything.
great people. I can't say enough good things about Angela and Matt. They've just been amazing. So
How are their
Yeah.
shops doing? Do you know?
So I know that they closed a couple, but they did open one on, they took on partners and opened one on the reservation because
Smart.
they don't have to follow the same rules. So, and they didn't do it for any reason other than to continue to serve the consumers. There was nowhere to get e-liquid. I believe, and I don't know for sure, but they don't carry hardware at that location, just liquid.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just a way for them to be able to keep servicing the communities.
But by not carrying hardware, they're still making it so that way people can still go to the other shops.
Absolutely.
Those other shops aren't closing down. It's just they're not selling the liquid. So instead of going to one shop, you have to go to 2, but at least
Absolutely.
everyone can share it in the love that is the vape community, instead of putting people out because you can't legally do something.
Right. Absolutely.
So real fast, while we have British Eyes on here. Now, Margo, have you ever seen a coil this size before?
That's a pretty big coil.
Let alone an alien?
No, I don't. Other than pictures, no.
British Eyes makes these for keychains.
That is huge. Okay, now that you hold it up to that's huge.
Well, there's one he has that's made out of copper that I don't remember what it is.
Ryan, send me a picture of it and I will hold it up right now.
Yes.
So I'm reading some of these, and Shadow Link Vapor. It said it sounds like TPD. That's exactly what they took it after the bill. So
Now, for the bill, you said that it's that they're trying to get it to where it's only 2 mil tanks, no larger than 2 mils.
Yes.
Now, are there, besides tanks, are they going to be trying to did they mention they're trying to get rid of pod systems or any specific kind of hardware besides tank?
So there are people much more versed in this part than I am, but there are some things about hardware. It all has to be Washington based, and I'm a little fuzzy on this part. But yeah, there's a lot of it. It's total prohibition. It's complete prohibition.
Well, you
Well,
let us know what you need, and we will definitely hook you up with it. We'll say
Back
you
in the
live, in the ocean or something.
Back in the 1920s, they thought it'd be great to ban alcohol, and I mean, someone was telling us about it. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, how they were, how a
I forget
Russian.
who it was. Yeah, a Russian company was sending stuff over with blue tint and just calling it like radiator fluid. And
Right.
then another company here in the United States would just remove the blue and it was vodka. Like, that's gonna happen, except for it's gonna be a bad time and it's not gonna be good stuff.
Right. It's going to be all, underground and black market. And when I testified, I told them, there are people coming in and getting unflavored juice and adding their own flavors right now. The unfortunate thing is they're going to the grocery store. Oh my gosh. Look at that.
That's one of his coils on top of the Turk coil caps.
Yeah.
Right.
So it is a 45
That's how much
millimeter.
it weighs. 2.5 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience for anything like that. Are you crazy?
He's also
120
made
mil bottle
jewelry
fits
for
in the
me.
middle of the coil.
He made
Oh my
a
goodness.
alien bracelet for me. I have it in my jewelry box right now because it tends to get stuck in my hair and on puppies. So I only wear it for special occasions. But he made me a beautiful alien bracelet for our wedding.
I hear this every once in a while. Nick, I'm stuck again.
Yeah. Because I don't want to hurt it.
I have bad ADD. I bounce everywhere, Margo. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I encourage it.
She does. She's a good
That's
enabler.
okay. So they've been going to the grocery store and they've been buying flavoring. Unfortunately, they don't know what the correct flavoring is. So
No.
they could be buying, flavoring that is hurting their lungs because it has the wrong base in it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I explained that to them when I testified as well. And I was really, really repeating myself that teenagers and kids are getting this illegally. And I said it probably 4 or 5 times. Illegally. And I said, once again, they are getting it illegally. So hopefully it drove the point home.
Pave had something on Twitter today about, a new law for teens that get a hold of vaping. I'm like, it's already illegal. Like, you can't make it more illegal. Like, you can't illegaler, like, that it doesn't work that way. Like,
Right.
It's already illegal. You guys pushed it to 21 and up, and that's fine. But what are these new laws? Like, you said that would work, so make it work.
Right.
Because we're with you. You want 21 and up? Fine. We got you. We'll do that. But, acting like, oh, well, now we need to limit flavors and we need to limit this. It's like, well, you guys said that this would work doing it this way. Now fix it. Like, it's not my fault that you can't understand your own plan.
And
Right.
I can get why they wanted to change it to 21. I can understand it. I don't think it's a good idea, but I get where their idea was behind it. But my thought is you made it 21. You didn't incorporate or father in anybody who was 18 that was already legal in doing this or smoking in general. And on top of that, if the 18-year-olds were buying it and giving it to their friends, or the younger kids were going into the gas stations and buying it illegally, how is this actually stopping them from doing that?
Right.
Because now the 18-year-olds have 21-year-old friends.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I mean, so
Oh,
all
yeah.
that's going to do now is just cause 3 more years of illegal usage.
3 more years of criminals.
So what I've heard as well as, and from multiple people, is it is easier for teenagers now to get flavored e-liquids than it is adults through this ban.
Yeah.
They're getting it on Instagram, they're getting it on Snapchat, they're getting it. And I have full-ass grown adults coming into my shop buying, tobacco and flavorless. Which one would you like? We don't even have menthol. We can't even have menthol. We have tobacco and flavorless. We can't have sweet tobacco. We cannot have creamy tobacco. It has just got to be tobacco.
That's
So-
ridiculous.
But I mean, there was an article that came out from here in Washington State that said that most teenagers that vape didn't even know there was a ban because they can still easily get their
It
items.
doesn't affect them,
So what is this going to do?
you know?
I mean, and I guess it's selfish. I never really thought of Washington and how bad it was for y'all. And I was thinking, how much it sucks that they're doing how they originally did the 10 cents a mil over here. And we're like,
Yeah.
most of the shops go to zero nick, and we do nick shots.
See, we have 9 cents a mil, but it includes zero nick.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It includes zero nick. I think they watched the rest of you states that did it, and then saw the workarounds that shops were doing, and then included the zero nick.
See, one of the workarounds we found for the Ohio state is if you are a manufacturer, or if you're a manufacturer that is based in Ohio, and you prepay for the nicotine that's going into the liquid. So let's say we placed an order for 100 bottles and we used half a gallon of nicotine. Obviously, that's way overkill. We don't put that much nicotine in anything.
Right.
Well, we pay for the milliliters of the half a gallon of nicotine to Ohio. Then when we sell it to the shops, we can sell it to them as regular nicotine-based liquid, and they don't have to pay that 10 cents a mil tax.
Mm.
I mean, so maybe see if any. I mean, I know with the ban
But
going.
ours includes zero nick, so that wouldn't even work.
Yeah.
And flavors.
Mm-hmm.
See, that sucks. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, ours, they got us all the way around. I mean, coming and going in every way possible. So
now,
half of our dedicated vape shops in Washington have closed down.
wow.
That breaks my heart.
Yeah.
So now you're waiting for one more vote and then another hearing, maybe, or is it
Well,
just
technically,
a vote?
can't you reopen again? Y'all reopen flavors on next week?
Yes, next week, because the executive order will close, or is done, our 120-day executive order. But then if one of these bills pass, they can't pass it in time to stop us from opening from the executive order being done. But if one of these bills pass, we're done again.
Yeah.
So we may just have a very small window of selling flavors. We're hoping not. I mean, we're trying to be optimistic. We're doing everything we can, dealing with our, legislation. But the fact is, we may have a very small window of selling flavors in Washington.
If they do pass the bill, is there like a certain amount of time before it will kick in, like 30 days?
It's immediate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they all state immediate.
So, like, if you have a shop full of flavors, what are you supposed to do with that? You're supposed to throw it all away?
Yeah, like everything's in my garage right now from the flavor ban.
Because that's not going to make kids jump into dumpsters and trash cans and pull out liquid.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Right, Mm-hmm. Or break into, known shop owners' homes.
Right.
Or, it doesn't affect them one way or the other. So, I mean, they're able to get their liquid, so it doesn't freaking matter. It just affects us. It affects adults. So right now we're waiting for the vote on the Senate hearing. If they vote no on it, it ends, but then these other two hearings, or the other two bills through the House will start moving, and we'll have to start fighting those. If they vote yes on this, then it'll go through one more committee and have to pass by the 7th, and then it'll have to go through one or two more committees, but we'll have to fight all through those.
Now, in your experience, what's the likeliness of it actually being able to go through and pass in both parties by the 7th?
Oh, they can do things quickly.
They can?
Yeah, and it won't have to be through both parties. It'll have just through they could vote on the Senate tomorrow. They could do it any day, and then it can rush through rules, and they can vote through that in a day so that it's done by the 7th. But it won't be effective by the 7th. It'll still have to go through two more committees after that. So it will not be effective by the 7th no matter what.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so even if it does get passed on the 7th by the rules and by the
Senate.
The Senate.
There's still two more committees. It'll have one or two more, I believe 2 more committees it has to go through.
Okay, so it still could get nixed then.
It still could get nixed. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. There's at least 4 committees altogether that it has to go through.
That's crazy.
But usually if it passes through 1 or 2, it's gonna pass. but yeah, I'm just checking to see if anyone's correcting me on that. But yeah, usually if it goes through one or two, it's going to pass, in my experience.
It's just frustrating.
I
mean, I feel frustrated. I can only imagine what y'all feel.
And
Right.
I mean, you said you had already shut down one shop.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've had multiple friends. I mean, we're not a big state. There was only just under 400 shops. We've been fighting together every year. So we all, I mean, we don't know everybody, but we all know each other.
Yeah.
We have a chat of owners. We have groups. And it's sad to watch each other shut down.
Yeah.
The oldest shop, I believe she's the oldest shop in Washington State, is closing down, or she closed down, and she's having her last hurrah on Friday. She was the pioneer of Washington State for vaping, and she's closing down on Friday, or she's finishing up on Friday. She's been doing it since 2011 is when she opened.
Wow.
That's
maybe 2010. She's been at the fighting in Olympia every year. It's over for her, and it sucks.
Yeah. So people who are in Washington, they should still keep calling and sending the emails and
Absolutely.
knowing people
until the final hour. Absolutely.
Do you have a list of people that they should call and email?
Yes.
If you shoot that to me in a Facebook message, I'll add that into the description of the YouTube video, so that way it's there for more people to be able to see it also.
Okay,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's get some phone calls going.
Yeah, and I'll make sure I call tomorrow. Now, have you found that, has anybody ever said to you that, out of state people, it doesn't really matter to them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think we all hear that.
But like, it does affect out of state, and like that's what I wish people to understand is your flavor ban in Washington State still affects us here in West Virginia, because we can't do business with Washington at that point. So now if we can't do business with Washington, that hurts our income. And if every state does that except for West Virginia, well, guess what? Now what do we do?
Right.
So it's not just one state, and I wish everyone would feel that way, because if your state decides, we're like with Massachusetts, they started this. Massachusetts and Michigan started all this, and now everyone's trying to jump on that bandwagon because they think, well, you know what, we're just going to ruin everyone's lives. Let's do it that way.
Right. And what people don't understand is when one state does it, all the bordering states around them start as well.
Yeah.
And it becomes a problem. And in all of our talking to distributors and manufacturers and trying to explain to them that it becomes a problem because you can't sell to us, it's hard for a lot of them to understand, which is really nice.
And a lot of people are like, well, you say it's going to affect so many people. It's only going to affect, just the vape shops. It's like, no, it affects the owners. It affects the employees. It affects the landlords that are renting the properties. Right. It affects the distribution companies. It affects the shippers even. It affects everybody.
And people like the landlords who may not even vape, they're going to be affected by this, and they're not even in the industry. They just happen to have a building. I mean, and then that means, so now some landlords have people who, do the maintenance for the building. Are they going to have to let that person go too? So now there's another job or two that's going to be put out there because, they can't pay someone to do it if they can't rent the building. And like, it's just a giant spider web of people who are just going to be miserable.
Absolutely.
And then on top of it, hospitals are going to have to hire more people because some idiot's going to go to Walmart and go, oh, hey, this is candy flavoring. It's good enough, right? That's
when we had our shop over in Toronto. We had a buddy that liked to, come in. He's like, my wife got me a whole DIY kit, but she didn't get me flavoring. So I ordered all the flavors online. I was like, sweet. He came in to me and he's like, you want to try it? I was like, well, what'd you make it with? And he's like, flavorings that I ordered. It's like, okay, bring me a bottle and I'll take a look at it first.
To
He
go let
made
the
it
last
all
out
with
real
candy
quick.
oil flavoring.
It was what?
Candy oil flavoring.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like, yeah, don't do that. He's like, no wonder I've been feeling a little sick. It's like, yeah,
Well,
completely.
and then here comes more statistics against vaping because of them making their own.
And vaping made them sick. Correct.
And
This
vaping
time
made them
it
sick.
did.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. When actually it wasn't, legal products, it was DIY at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I personally, I absolutely love it when I hear, well, vaping makes people sick. Okay, vaping is a verb. So if you say vaping makes you sick, you kind of need to specify vaping what? Because that's like saying eating makes me sick.
Right,
Well,
right.
eating macaroni and cheese won't make you sick, but if you eat
Makes me
cat
sick.
litter, you might get sick. Like,
Right,
you
right.
have to include the rest of the sentence. Omitting that one thing can change the whole dynamic of the situation.
Absolutely.
Walking won't hurt you. Walking without shoes might. Like,
Yeah.
it drives me nuts. Vaping is a verb, and I hate it because like all these politicians are like, oh, well, vaping is bad. No, vaping illegal drugs and improperly manufactured liquids, that's hurting people.
Right,
Correct.
right. Absolutely.
I've said it 100 times. Nick and I can take you to every person that makes our liquid. We can introduce you to them. They know who we are. We've shaken their hands. Like, we have a personal relationship. And if you are a manufacturer and you can't go to the people that make your stuff and say, hey, these are people that make my stuff, then what are you doing? Like,
Right.
like this is our job. This is our passion. We should be able to say, hi, this guy named John over here, he does this, and this guy over here, he does that. Like, we need to be on this. And
Right.
it drives me nuts because if you're selling something and you can't say, you know what, hold on, let me call this person, and we'll tell you everything. We can tell you where we get our stuff from. We can tell you what state it's made in. We can tell you how it gets shipped to us. Like,
Yeah. Made in good old Philadelphia.
yeah, like, it's important that people are able to ask those questions and saying, well, vaping makes me sick. Okay, well, where did you get your stuff?
Right.
Well, this guy, I bought it off of him, who bought it off of the guy, and it's like, okay, so that's your problem. Like,
Right.
Like the shop I work at, Steel Valley, we had a lady come in today, and she's like, do y'all make your own liquid here in the shop? It's like, no, we don't. She's like, well, I want to say she said it was Tennessee where she was. Most of the shops over there all make their own liquid, so why don't you make yours? I was like, because honestly, I wouldn't trust myself. And I explained to her, that, okay, when she said that, I told her that I owned the rescue line and the pack leader line. And she's like, so you do make your liquid? I was like, I'll try everything out the first time. I'll mix flavors together to figure out what flavors taste good. Then I send it over to the lab to get made.
Right.
I do not bottle.
Yeah.
My house is clean, yes. Oh, I mean,
It's not.
it's lived in.
I'm a
Let's be
horrible
honest.
housewife.
But
like, we
there's
have
dogs. There's dust. It's an old
Right.
house. The house was built in the 20s. I
And
mean,
we
I would
live
show
in
you
a
the ceiling in
town.
my office, but there's a hole in it that I haven't patched yet.
I mean, we live in a town where they just recently basically blew up a steel mill. So everything in this town is covered with a fine layer of dust that's always in the air. So you can dust today, and tomorrow you're going to have to dust again. Like, it's real bad.
Yeah.
So I don't want a bottle here because you're going to end up with asbestos in your bottle or dog hair. I'm not really sure which.
And then she asked me, she's like, well, why don't you just do it here in the shop like all the other ones do? I was like, because most of the shops have a liquid nicotine bottle, and it's kind of like the hand sanitizer. They have a little pump system on it. I go, so who's to say that pump is accurate? Who's to say that that's going to get, one pump's going to be 3 milliliters, or is it a quarter of a pump? Is it 2 pumps? I go,
And
because
is it
your
a
3
long,
could be a
slow
10.
pump or a short pump that's going to get you the right amount? Like, if you hit something hard enough, it's going to shoot out a little bit.
And who trusts their employees enough to do that? Like,
Right.
who trusts a part-time, minimum wage employee that's not pissed off that day.
Yeah.
To get that accurate.
Yeah.
The correct question is, Will, since you're watching this right now, you trust me enough to do that trick.
Okay. So,
But I mean,
so you trust Nick, but
on most cases,
I don't trust myself to do that, honestly.
in most cases, you don't have someone who has their own liquid line working in a vape shop. Like,
right.
99% of the people that are employed by vape shops are people who enjoy vaping, but they really don't know much beyond, hey, this is my neck and this is what it is. Like, a lot of them don't know how to mix flavors.
I don't trust myself to mix it. I'm trying to see. I have some pictures from when I took Will from Steel Valley over to Philadelphia to our manufacturer, Liquid Filling.
Matt said, who's to say they didn't sneeze on the pump? Exactly. Who's to say they washed their hands before they did it?
And Matt that's in the chat, he's actually my baby brother. And he's the manager of my shop. And he's my right-hand man, and he's my brain, and he's my everything. So, and he always says that a lot. He talks about the pet dander. He talks about, anybody has cats, cats walk wherever the hell they want to. They're not, you do not have a clean area in your house if you have cats.
No.
Right through the litter box and up on the side, no.
Yeah, there is not a clean area in your house. I don't care what you say if you own a cat.
Yeah.
And believe me, I have two, so I know.
Same for dogs.
Same for dogs. Yeah, or children.
Yeah. Unless you live in a clean room, it's not an option.
Right. It's absolutely right.
This is Will,
AKA Dad,
over at the lab that we use, and they had literally just mixed up a bottle for us to try, and their lab is wonderful and amazing. And so I was talking to the guys the very first time I went there. I love the story because the fact that I vape a lot, and I never realized how high my tolerance is to a lot of things until I went over there, and the mixologist, I guess we would call him, Jake, super nice guy. We were mixing up Ben, the guava lemonade, and he was mixing them up. And the very first day I went up there, we came up with 15 different variations of our guava lemonade, because I was trying to nail it just like how we had on the very first time with the last manufacturer. And I'm trying it, and every time I'm trying it, I pass it over to him, and I'm like, okay, this is what we're supposed to be going for. This is what we have. It's not the same thing. And he just looks at me. He's like, can we take a break for an hour? I was like, why? I go, we need to nail this. I drove 6 hours, and I'm driving 6 hours home tonight. I don't care what the time is. I'm good, bud. He's like, dude, I'm so nicked out. I can't taste anymore. I'm done. It's like, oh, come on. You're a mixologist. Grow a pair.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
like the way they do it with the syringes, they have it measured out to the exact science, and it just amazes me.
I mean, Matt even brought up another point. He said, I started vaping to watch what goes into my body. I don't want someone's skin or hair or fart in my e-liquid. Exactly. I don't want that either. I mean, I'm not a germaphobe. I will gladly roll around in the mud with the dogs, but I personally don't want to put someone else's cold into my body, or, someone forgot to wash their hands after they took a massive shit. I don't need that going into my body. Like, and
let's face it, you are ladies, y'all have long fingernails. Y'all can poke through the toilet paper really easily.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't anymore. I don't have that problem anymore. Actually, Jess Marie actually helped me out. Turns out I'm allergic to some acrylics, so.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was explaining to her how I kept getting these weird bubbles under my nails, and she's like, oh, that's like a stage 3 allergy. And I'm like, oh, now I know. So I don't have acrylics anymore. But that's okay. I'm okay with it,
It's just, I find it humorous how we always find so many different things that, there's ways to improve. And everybody's like, well, why don't you just do it yourself? It's like, people are better at it. Mm-hmm. Why would I?
Right.
I mean, it's going back to the nails. You could do them yourself, but they're not going to turn out well. I'm assuming if you're anything like me, you might be able to do the one hand, but the other hand's going to look like a 3-year-old had a hand in it.
Right.
I have a Dremel. I'll do your nails for you.
I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, come on now. I mean, I have all these tools. I have my own little construction company. Well, I had my own little construction company, but I have all these tools. If I can, pretty much build a house, I'm pretty sure I can put acrylic nails on. I mean, you just use the same stuff as liquid glass, right? You know what I use for the countertops and the floors.
I mean, but that's why these people go and learn and go to school to do these things. Like,
Right.
You don't trust just anyone to work on your car. Why would you trust just anyone to make something you're putting into your body?
Right.
The people that make their own liquid at home in their garage and then sell them to people and claim it to be good stuff, like there are a few guys out there who I know who make it and they do a really good job, but they've been doing this for a very long time.
And they'll even first tell you, like, we made some horrible stuff that made us sick at first.
Yeah, but chances are, if you don't know the person and they're not licensed or they're not a manufacturer or, they're not some kind of recognized brand, chances are they're not going to be safe.
Right. Yeah, I stick with brands. People I know. Things I know. Yeah.
I just wish people would take the time to go, you know what, maybe I should trust someone who knows what they're doing.
Right.
Like when it comes to the liquid line, I have no clue on how to make anything. I will not pretend that I do. I try all the things. Like I'm the one that Nick's like, hey, try this and tell me what you think. I will try all of the things. I will not try to mix them.
Right. Amazing, because they're so. One of the flavors, and I'll tell you about it, and everybody else watching, because we decided not to move forward with it. So Kelly came up to me and she's like, "Let's make a flavor that is a combination of everything everybody wants." And I was like, "Okay, what do you mean?" And she's like, "Everybody loves the Jewel mint, the Jewel pomegranate, and what was the last one?" Cucumber.
Those are the 3 flavors that when we had the shop, everyone would come in. We never carried Jewel products.
Yeah, we refused to.
Everyone would come in and say, do you have the pomegranate jewels? Do you have the cucumber jewels? Do you have the mint jewel? And I thought, I like all those things. Let's put them together.
So I was down at the lab and she's like, hey, don't forget to mix this up for me. And I was like, I like mint and I like cucumber. This could be really, really good. And I like pomegranate because when I smoked my hookah, all I did was smoke pomegranate.
Right.
Mixed it all together, finger tested it. It was amazing. Put it in the vape. I thought I was about to puke because I thought I literally just vaped dog shit.
Oh,
it wasn't dog shit, but have you ever sprayed perfume and then gotten it in your mouth?
Oh yeah.
That's kind of what it tasted like.
It was way worse than that. I walked through your perfume and hairspray clouds. It was way worse than that.
And I've tried many juices like that as well.
Yeah.
Liquid. Yeah.
And we both went, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. That's.
I mean, we still put it out on the tester bar, and said, hey, we might come out with this. Let us know what you think. And there were some people like, this is amazing. We can taste everything. We love this. And you just kind of look at them like, if you like that, are you sure you're a normal person?
And that's when you go to the juice that doesn't sell very well because it's not very good, and you go, well, you love this one.
Right.
And they
I'm about
always
to clearance
bought it.
this out, but before I do.
Yeah.
So I was at an expo and I tried a hibiscus, and I believe it was a hibiscus pear. I didn't catch the name of it. I have no idea. Ever since then, I've been trying hibiscus e-liquids, and I have not found one that even compares to it. And I want to find a good hibiscus e-liquid.
Problem solved. So, have you heard of Cream?
Yes.
Cream by with Kyle Adolf. I always forget how to pronounce his name. It reminds me of Hitler. but with Kyle, he has a hibiscus strawberry. And it is amazing. It really, really is. And I forget the damn name of it now. But it has a picture of a red car on the front. And it's so, so good.
Okay.
He also does a couple tobaccos, but they're mixed with different things. One of
Yeah.
them is a moonshine tobacco, and the other ones I
Okay.
forgot what they are. But we sold the boardroom series sold really well for us. It just doesn't work for you now. Sorry.
Yeah.
That
Can't have anything in it.
that has to be the hardest thing. Trying to find a tobacco that is literally just a tobacco. And then how does somebody else compare with that? Because it's like, well, my straight tobacco tastes better than your straight tobacco because we both use the same flavorings because it's tobacco.
Right. Well, I mean, we can have smooth tobacco. We can have bold tobacco. We can have mild tobacco, but we can't have anything that's like sweet, creamy, any identifying words like that makes any kind of, yeah. So,
Now, could they be, though, like a sweet or creamy tobacco and just be labeled as a tobacco for y'all? No.
not if they have anything else in them. Not legally, anyway.
So if we came out with something like a apple smoked tobacco, if we just called it tobacco,
If there were no identifying words on it, legally, no. But if there were no identifying words on it, there was no way to tell.
I mean, we could come up with a tobacco one that's like, strawberry kiwi mix.
It's so hard for us because it's such a gray area and so, you know what I mean? As shop owners, we know what our customers want. We know that they don't want just tobacco.
yeah.
It's rough.
I mean, I smoked for 25 years. I started smoking at 9 years old. I stole my first cigarette from one of my foster parents. And, at that point, I just would continuously just try to steal them. I started vaping because I found a flavor that I enjoyed. I do not enjoy tobacco. I did not enjoy the taste of cigarettes. It was just something I did at that point. I mean, after 25 years, I couldn't taste anything anymore anyways. It was just something that I did.
Right.
And to find a flavor that was like, okay, I mean, even Nick will tell you, I would literally light the cigarette. Towards the end, I mean, I dual used for about a month. And I would light a cigarette towards the end and I would hold it while it burnt and hit my vape. I was just burning it. Like at this point, I was just burning it because I had it. And I would take a hit and I'd be like, no, I'm back to my vape, And then 6 months after my last cigarette, I was, a manager at a restaurant and I was having a really bad day, didn't have my vape. And I walked up to one of my girls and was like, give me a cigarette and your lighter or I'm firing you. And she just kind of looked at me. I'm like, I don't care at this point. I will come up with something. Just give me one. And she's like, but you don't smoke. I'm like, I do right now, and she gave me, I believe it was like a Pall Mall or something really bad. I got halfway through the cigarette and was puking on the side of the restaurant. Like I was like, nope, I'm still not a smoker. And that was years ago now. And I'm happy. I mean, when I say vaping saved my life, I'm not exaggerating.
Right.
I am not trying to play to the masses. Like when I smoked, I watched my children grow up from my kitchen window. I couldn't go outside and play with them. I couldn't do steps. Like we have a lot of dogs. We go through a lot of dog food. We get 50-pound bags and I couldn't carry one of them. And the day that I carried a bag of dog food up our million steps out front, I called Nick and I went, guess what I did? I carried the dog food upstairs. He's like, okay, and?
There's 26 steps outside.
Okay, 26, whatever. But I was like,
Oh my gosh.
okay, but I did it. And then once I was proud of myself because I walked up 26 steps carrying a 50-pound bag of dog food and I didn't die. Beforehand, I would have had to take at least a couple breaks,
Oh my
because there was
goodness.
no way I was doing it.
Yikes.
I mean, and once Nick realized what happened, he was very proud of me, and
I was.
But it was just, it was just amazing to me. I was like, you mean I can do things now? And now I take my girls to play basketball, and my boys will play. They're not very athletic, but we run and we play with the dogs, and I'm a part of their life. And that has helped me with battling my depression, because now I'm not miserable and I don't feel like I'm the worst mom ever because my kids say, "Hey, mom, let's go play soccer," and I'm like, "I can't. I'm old."
Right.
Yeah, Dad says our steps do feel like a million steps.
That's because he's old. I just told him.
But I mean, there are 26 steps to get to our front door, and then there's another like 15 to get to our bedroom.
Yeah.
Like, after a while, it's just a lot of steps.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I mean, it did save my life. I'm still battling my depression from time to time, but it's not as bad as it was when I smoked.
Yeah. Well,
Do you
able to
hear
be more
that weird
active.
noise
so.
in the background, Margo?
Yeah, I hear a puppy.
That's Vulcan. He's
That's
mad.
Vulcan.
He wants to come play.
Got it. Hercules is not supposed to be on the couch, but because I let him on earlier, he's passed out on the couch now. He's taking advantage of mom not watching.
Well, normally I would have all 5 dogs just running through the house, but it's really hard to focus on what we're doing and
Right.
what they're doing at the same time, because with 5 big dogs and I'm in a room that I can't see all the rest of the house.
That, and we have Gator coming to stay with us for a couple of nights because he's going to be making tips over at the shop for us this weekend.
Yeah.
So, trying to keep the house as clean as possible.
Gotcha.
Mike, I will have him next week on the show. How about that? We can have a Vulcan day for the show because he's just too crazy.
Well, I was showing, so all the dogs on the bottle are rescued, are rescues except for Vulcan. Vulcan's not a rescue.
He's not a rescue.
Pack leader, all the liquids you'll be getting tomorrow. Pack leader Mika is Will's dog, Steel Valley's dog, and Vulcan is Mika's son.
So Mika is the mama dog.
Yeah.
She's a good girl. We like her. We
But
don't like
I'd
Dad's
always
other
wanted
dog.
a husky, and Will knew that, and I saw he was having puppies, and I was like, "Can I have one?" And he's like, "It's going to a good home, so yes." I was like, "Cool."
Yeah.
And we've had him since he was about 8-9 weeks old.
Yeah.
He's a handful.
He's a husky.
He's
And-
husky and German Shepherd, so he's like all the crazy and giant.
And all the stubbornness.
And hair.
Yes, he's got
lots and lots of hair.
He is the same size as our 100-pound Great Pyrenees right now.
Oh
But he
my
doesn't weigh
gosh.
that much right now. I think he's only 60 pounds, 70 pounds at most. But
I haven't weighed
he's
him.
tall and he's fluffy.
Yeah.
And he knows we're talking about him right now. I can hear him upstairs.
Well,
And
I
then
left
like-
the door open, and Vulcan or Velez is probably down there messing with them because they're besties.
Yeah.
It's hilarious that Velez at 20 pounds is best friends with Vulcan, who's gigantic, and they wrestle. And at night, they have their own bedrooms. The girls go to their room and the boys go to their room.
Oh my gosh.
And Vulcan cannot deal with not having Velez. Like, they have to be together. So on nights where Vulcan decides he wants to crash in the girls' room, Velez has to go with him, or it's all bad.
Oh my goodness.
So they were talking on chat about liquids that over time, some that steep for a long time don't taste that good after a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, this bottle of Strawberries Down Under, let's see if I have a manufacture date on this. No, there's no manufacture date. But this was one of the bottles I got last year at the Houston Vape Showcase. And it's steeped amazing. Just so with my... have you ever had Country Cloud's cornbread pudding?
I have not.
So I like to steep mine a while. And
Yeah. When he says a while, he's not exaggerating.
When you get it has that nice little yellowish tint to it. I like to steep mine till it's kind of black.
Oh my gosh.
This bottle is about a year old also, and it's so good.
But he still uses it. And that was half of the inspiration for the Velez flavor.
Yeah. Like, so I love the cornbread pudding, but I can only do it on an RDA. Because if I do it in a tank, do you remember Corn Nuts, the snack?
Oh, of course.
In a tank, to me, it tastes just like Corn Nuts. And I was like, I'm not a fan. Not a fan at all. But I love it in an RDA. It's heavenly. Like, the cornbread comes out, the butter comes out. It's so good. Well, so for our version of it, I wanted to be able to do both tanks and RDAs. So we added a little bit more butter to it. And so ours is a little dark also.
Oh my gosh.
But it doesn't change. Like, it stays the way it is. It's
Yeah.
not going to be weird or anything. Like,
And it
it's
doesn't
dark.
murder coils.
Yeah.
Like, our hardest liquid is Velez. Then I can go through 120 mils on the same set of cotton or in the same Falcon tank.
So even that dark, it's not hard on your coils at all.
Yeah. And then Vulcan, the strawberry kiwi. Usually after about a 60 mil, I kind of get a little tired of that flavor, which is weird because back in the day, Strawberries Down Under, it's what gave me the inspiration for Vulcan. I mean, I'd be able to go through 2 or 3 bottles back to back easily. But with Vulcan, I can only go through one because it's a little heavier on the kiwi because we want it to be a little different. But it sounds really weird saying it's a kiwi strawberry flavor.
Yeah, that's weird.
And
I was
then-
going to show you my Vengeance coils, but it's been on here so long that I can't.
This is Vengeance,
Yeah.
and this bottle is also a year old. Like,
Oh my
all
god.
of our
That's the
liquids will
OG.
keep for as long as possible just to prove how well they can steep. Like,
And it's in a red bottle because the red in light, like the UV light, doesn't change the color as much.
Right.
People are like, why isn't it in a red bottle? Well, it keeps it from getting really dark really fast.
and this is one of my last bottles of Ben, and this one's a year old also.
Yep.
Like, so with Ben, it's super easy on coils. Like, that was our goal. Good liquid, not heavy at all on sweeteners. The heaviest we have is 0.5% in one of the flavors, and that is the
Vengeance.
Vengeance.
That's
And
awesome.
other than that,
Try
though,
them.
there's about 1/4 or 1/10%.
That's amazing.
But I mean, we wanted to make sure that it was a liquid that you don't have to change your cotton all the time. You don't have to change your coils all the time. Like I said, I've had this mod since Christmas time, and it's still the same coils, and I believe the same cotton because I've never changed it. So,
No, I do it for you.
Girl, that's nasty.
Okay, well, when was the last time you changed my cotton?
On the Rage,
Yeah, on my Rage.
2 weeks ago, I think. 2
Okay.
shows ago.
It still lasts a really long time, and it doesn't taste bad.
And I know when I need to change it because Kelly will forget to squonk, and I'll be up here working, and I'll hear this most god awful yeah.
I vape my cotton really dry, like really dry. I want to make sure that I'm using all of the liquid, you know?
That's funny. I love my squonks, and I do the same thing. I just forget to squonk. Yeah.
I'm sure you don't make that kind of a noise though, because it's kind of like a duck. It's like yeah.
It's like, you know, that like the cat has a hairball and you can just hear it from another room.
My husband and I have this thing, I'll cough or something after vaping. He's like, so baby vapor? And I'm like, yeah, baby vapor. Sorry. Haven't been doing this long.
Yeah, I say the same thing. Like I'll be hanging out in Steel Valley with Will, and I'll cough for whatever reason, mostly because it's dry. And
Right.
Will just kind of look at me and be like, I just started vaping.
I'm new.
I'm new to this. And then they'll realize that I'm wearing all rescued gear, and you know, I'm telling them about the flavors, and then they're like, how are you? I'm like, it's just what I say. It's cool. I've been doing this for a few years, but sometimes I forget. You know?
So speaking of bottles, this is one of my husband's, but have you guys seen these? And I don't know if I can get close enough.
Yeah, the expiration date.
Oh.
No.
What? Epstein didn't kill himself.
I love that.
It's on the squeeze bottles.
I think they also did a one on the bottom that said like "We vape, we vote." Or
They did, yeah. But
I had never seen that. I love that.
yeah, I saw this online, and I had him look at his bottles that he has. Yeah.
I would buy that liquid just because it says that. Like,
Right,
that's
right.
great. That is
If we weren't
great.
in a flavor ban, tell him not to vape that, but I don't think he's going to listen to me right now. So.
Just keep the bottle. That's like I do. Just keep the bottle.
I don't blame. I don't think I would be able to follow the rules.
Yeah, probably not.
It's hard. I mean, we try when we're in the shop to not vape flavors, and if we are, we don't leave our bottles around because we don't want to. We stocked up the night that we had to sell out or sell as much as possible before the night of the ban. We tons of our customers stocked up because we were selling buy two get two free. We were doing anything we could to get rid of liquid, so it wasn't sitting in my garage. So
Right.
we stocked up, they stocked up, everybody stocked up, and so they're just now getting to the point of running out and having to do tobacco and flavorless. Then there's the people that are just now coming in saying, "Where's your flavors? Are you kidding me? It's been 120 days almost, and you're what? Where have you been this whole time?"
Yeah.
So we try not to show that we personally are vaping anything other than what they can vape as well. Or, like Matt will vape tobacco when he's in the shop, and I will not vape tobacco. I would rather vape unflavored.
Yeah. I don't like tobacco.
I would have to agree with you on that. I can't do tobaccos. I don't like the taste at all. Like and we have guys on that are buddies of ours that all they vape is Cubano, and it's like that's disgusting. I'm sorry.
Right. Although this is my bottle of Fuji. Not that I'm going to vape it, but it's mine to keep. Because the fuck you, Jay Inslee, that's gold.
That is.
That's gold.
Yeah.
Like that's that. I have you heard what Turk's caps are going to be? Like he's doing a whole bunch of new caps right now. Turk is.
No.
And they're all like the fuck you cap.
Wow.
And he had, I think it's fuck you or fuck off, something like that. And it's all the way around his cap, all the way down for his RDA.
Yeah, I think it just says fuck you.
And he's doing that specifically for the government, for the we keep our flavors.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on this flavor ban is, if they take away the flavors for vaping, what are they going to take next? Are they going to tell me that because I'm an adult, I can't dye my hair? Are they going to come in and tell me what color my walls are allowed to be? Like, no. Like, that's not okay with me. Like, one of the only things I had to look forward to as a teenager was being able to make my own decisions.
Right.
And I'm deciding that I want to vape fruity, weird flavors because I enjoy them. No one is making me. No one told me I had to. Like, that's my choice. And to tell me I can't have that choice, it's like I waited 18 years to be able to make decisions that no one can tell me I'm not allowed to do.
Right.
And I was watching the Rhode Island thing today, and Matthew Elliott even said, like it's a slippery slope. We're adults. It's illegal for people under the age of 21 to use it. So let us as adults make that decision. So he even pointed out that, no one says anything about the flavored alcohol. I mean, I have pineapple alcohol, but this is allowed. Why isn't my pineapple vape juice allowed? Like,
right.
The difference is nicotine, which doesn't kill people, versus alcohol, which 44,000 people a year die from alcohol-related illnesses or injuries. Like,
right.
I'm sorry. I'd rather see my flavored alcohol get banned before my nicotine.
Right. I rarely drink. And I said that in my testimony as well. I looked straight at them and I said, in the summertime, I enjoy lemonade and raspberry vodka. And in the wintertime, I enjoy my peppermint vodka with my hot chocolate.
Yeah.
And according to this flavor ban, those should be banned as well. And you could see a couple of the senators shaking their head like, oh, kind of a, And let me tell you, my peppermint vodka came in a scratch and sniff bottle.
Oh,
A limited edition candy cane scratch and sniff bottle.
because that's not child friendly.
Because that is not appealing to children.
I mean, my kids can look at this in the fridge and they don't always see that it says alcohol down here.
Yeah, besides that one little spot, where else does it say it on there? Honestly,
Right,
just
and-
looking at it.
There's no.
And hard seltzer doesn't even really, I mean, someone wouldn't even.
There it is down there. Contains
Right.
alcohol, real small. Like, how is this fair? Because it's not 30% of the label. It's not even 10%.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying ban alcohol, but if the shoe's good enough for the left side, it might as well be good enough for the right side. Like,
So the night before the ban, my husband and I, we went to a gas station. Let me see if I can grab these out of my vent bag. And where'd they go?
I know you're hungry. You're doing that.
So we're selling these. And I was so irritated because it's like, they're talking about tobacco and flavors and banning flavored vape juice. This is a grape cigar. 79 cents.
Yeah, I saw pictures of that. That's crazy.
Orange. There's even there's one that is like fireball flavored, watermelon, cherry. I mean, and these are 79 cents a piece at a gas station. Tell me the kids aren't going for these.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, good job, Washington State.
Yeah,
You know?
like that's any kid can give another kid $5 and get this. I know it only costs them 79 cents, but they'll be more than willing to pay extra.
Right. I got a handful of them for $5. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you can get a hell of a buzz off a cigar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I made it a point, and I went into my kids' school, and my kids don't go to school anywhere around here, and I asked a couple of their friends who they pointed out. They said, "Hey, these people vape," and I promised them that I wasn't going to use names or anything like that. And I wasn't going to turn them in. I told them to stop, obviously, but I said, "What are you going to do when the flavors go away?" And you know what they said? I'll just vape tobacco or cigarettes or, like they made it very clear. Like if they can't get flavors, they're just going to do something else. Like,
Right.
it's not. That's not what we want, because now they're going to go to something more dangerous.
Right.
It's sad.
I just feel like they're not being fair to one category. If they're going to do it to one category, then they need to do it to all of them.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see. I mean, if they're going to ban flavors, then they need to ban all the flavors. And you know what? Captain Crunch vodka, I'm sorry, but how is that not child friendly?
right.
Like, I've gone to Applebee's and seen pictures of their mixed drinks with, candy hanging out of it. And it's like, well, I have to explain to my 10-year-old why she can't have the Airhead drink. Like, come on. Come on.
Right. Well, if you walk down the alcohol aisle in Safeway or whatever, I don't know if they sell them in the grocery stores there, but there's the cotton candy vodka or rum and the orange creamsicle and I think there's even a Swedish fish one I saw.
Yeah.
I mean, there's everything.
That's insane.
And alcohol is way more of a rampant issue with teenagers than vaping is.
Yeah.
Vaping. So,
Go get them.
I feel like they're coming after the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I do too, but I mean, if you have the people who manufacture the alcohol, they start going after them again, they'll say the exact same thing that we're saying. You're coming after us, and more people died recently on vaping than they have on alcohol. It's like.
But there goes that verb again, vaping.
Yeah. It's like, what are you vaping? Oh, well, they just picked up a pen around the corner from somebody. Well,
I mean, there's always some gas station that's gonna sell to some kid because it's another kid behind the counter and he knows how to get around the program. Velez is being really demanding right now.
I was reading in the chat.
Go eat your food. Go eat.
He won't. You're not in there.
We've talked about this. You have to learn to eat without me.
Do your pups have this issue, Margo? Where if you're not with them, they won't eat their food?
Oh, no. We just have the little one and Hercules, and they're both pigs. So they don't care.
Well, with Velez, I mean, being that he's a rescue, we've had to work with him on a lot of things. And, you know, we've gotten past the whole afraid of everything. Now we're working on the it's okay to not have mom with you.
Right.
So his food is in another room that he is free to go eat. Did you hear this?
Mm-hmm.
He is free to go eat it whenever he wants to. He just doesn't want to unless I'm there. You know,
Right.
he's associating me with all his happy, and I'm trying to get him to understand that you can be happy without me. It's okay.
No.
Right. Right.
I'm not happy without you.
Aww.
Well, I do enjoy the times that you're away sometimes.
That's okay. I'm the same way.
Like, when we had our shop, at first we were the only people working there, and just like everybody, when you're starting a business, you put all your time and all your heart into it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were the people at the shop who were like, you know what? Like, we took what we liked at our home shop at the time, which was Steel Valley, and we took what we liked at another shop over close to us. I won't mention the name. And we combined the things that we didn't like from that shop that's close to us. And the one thing we didn't like from Steel Valley, no offense, Dad, I know you're still watching, and it was that he wasn't open on a Sunday. That was the only thing we didn't like from him.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was good. I love the fact that he was the very first vape shop I ever went into.
Right.
And when I walked in there the very first time, he told me to get the fuck out, and I told him to fuck off, and I said I would never come back in there, and we called each other a shit ton of names.
But now they're besties.
Right. But in his defense, it was because I didn't go in there for any vape-related products. I went in there looking for tobacco for my hookah. And he told me that he was bombarded that week with people looking for tobacco products. And he was just at the point where he lost it. And I get that completely.
Right.
And he said he's not a slave driver.
I guess I need to be reading the chat. Is this your dad talking to you?
We call him Dad. He's not actually our dad, but we call him Dad. It's Steel Valley. That's the guy. And I told that we wanted the hookah tobacco, but I mean, like I said, the not open on a Sunday was the only thing we never liked from his shop. And so we're like, all right, so we're gonna be open 7 days a week, and we're gonna work around people's schedule. So we're gonna open up at 9 a.m. and we're gonna close at 11. And Kelly was like, I don't know if I can do that many hours. I was like, oh, you'll be fine. And she was fine. She at first she was fine. It took a wear on Kelly before it took a wear on me, because I'm so used to little sleep and working like retarded long hours from the construction company.
Right.
And
I mean, it wasn't that so bad. I mean, for me, I have lupus, and not being able to care for myself the way I needed to and still be at the shop for 14 hours was difficult some days.
It was. And I get that. So it turned into, you know what? You take like 2 or 3 days a week off, and I pretty much lived at the shop constantly. Every day, 7 days a week I was there. When we had employees, when we finally moved up to having an employee, we went through employees like we go through toilet paper, just trying to find somebody that was good.
And we would find the ones that were good, but, you know, the one guy that we really enjoyed having, he had a life, and he had another job, and, you know, he was a young man. He was, I believe, 19, you know, and he had things that he wanted to go do, and we didn't want him to feel like he had to come to work all the time. So, you know, we would need him, but he'd have other plans, and, you know, it just wasn't in our cards to have him with us all the time, and that was okay, and we understood that. And, you know, still to this day, he'll call Nick and, you know, how's it going, and
anyway, you know, I can get some vape juice off of you. It's like, not legally anymore. you're 20 now.
Yeah.
He's like, can I come over and help clean your house and steal a bottle? I was like, no, no, I can't have you at my house, thanks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, so it's just, I forgot what the hell the point of the story was now.
I mean, we're talking about good employees. And we even had, really bad employees that we had to explain to them that, look, I don't care if you play video games, but on the times when you're not doing anything, I really need you to, like, sweep the floor and clean the windows and stock the shelves. Like, I'm not asking you to do hard stuff. Just do these things first and then go play video games.
Right.
Those are the employees that it turned out to be a war with. And,
yeah. I think we've all had a couple of those fun ones.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we loved having our shop. The worst part was, we were in such a small town with a lot of angry people, a lot of older people who didn't understand what it was, and we got death threats, and we got
oh my gosh,
angry letters.
We got a lot of death threats. I got a lot of people calling angrily at me.
We had a guy that actually went so far as to figure out what vehicles we drove, the names of our children, what schools they went to, where we lived. Like, yeah, it was bad.
I mean, my goodness.
And so I was really stupid. I thought I was smart, but I was really stupid. So when I started the construction company, my cell phone was the business line. Because I worked for IT for a long time, and I hated having multiple phones on me always. And I mean, because when you're trying to do something, you're just going to grab a phone and call somebody. And so let's face it, half the time I'm going to call from the wrong phone. So I was like, you know what? Fix the problem, just have one phone. So when we opened the vape store, I still had the construction company, and I was like, let's make life easier. The vape store's phone number is going to be my cell phone number also.
So he had the vape shop, the
liquid
construction company, and the liquid company, and his personal cell phone, all the same number.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And so everybody was calling, and they were harassing the living crap out of us. And like we had a newspaper article written about us just when we did our grand opening. This is the local news because it's a small town. It was really cool. And then we got the first letter. That was, I hope your store burns down and you lose your entire family. And it was just a horrible
because we're
horrible
addicting
letter.
Children and making them die, and we're like, what? And like the police department even said that it was great for us being in the area because the guys who were 18 to 25 at the time, because it was still legal at 18, they would come and hang out at the shop, and they weren't out drinking and doing stupid stuff. I mean, they even said they had to let go of 2 cops because all the guys that were normally in trouble were hanging out at our shop. Parents would call and say, hey, is my son there? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure, hold on. It was a family. It was a home.
Right.
And like a lot of really weird and bad things happen to me. I attract a lot of bad people. And so like, you go into your shop or you talk to your friends, you start telling them, this has been going on and that's been going on. And they just kind of look at you like, really? Are you sure?
Yeah.
So one day, this guy called, and he was the most ignorant son of a bitch I've ever dealt with. Like, I would take getting death threats over dealing with this guy again. And he kept harassing us even months after our store closed.
Yeah.
He called up, and he was just going to town on me. And I looked at Kelly, and I was like, hey, hold on one second, because there's another vape shop I'm going to call real fast.
Well, no, originally, he called, and I answered the phone.
Yeah.
And because Nick was busy with something, and I answered the phone, and he lost it on me because I was a woman. And everyone that's watched these shows before can probably tell you the story of me telling a guy that, I can rewick his mod if it tastes funny. It's just my vagina juice, and he'll be all right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But like, I was raised to believe I can do anything that Nick can do. I just might not be as good at it. And I'm only helpless when my nails are drying. You know, like that's how I was raised. And this guy like loses his shit on me because I'm a woman who like apparently is stupid and you know, my husband must be gay for making me work. I'm like,
Yep, those were his
I
exact words.
I own it. Like it's a 50-50 ownership here. Like we both own this. So I'm here because I want to be, not because I have to be. Like I answered the phone because he was having a conversation with someone else and I didn't want to leave someone who had a question just waiting. You know, like
and the conversation kept going, and he was like exactly what Kelly said. You must be gay because you're making your wife work. He goes, you must be a faggot. You must be a homosexual. And he just goes off and he goes, I bet you're one of those N-word lovers also. And I was like, oh, hold on one second. Well, Will from Steel Valley, his fiance is African American. Right?
she is a wonderful lady.
Yeah.
Wonderful. We love her to death.
Yeah. And so I was like, hold on. Called him up. I was like, hey, Dad, there's a guy and he likes to make a lot of comments on here. And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, remember the guy I told you about that was threatening me? He's like, yeah. I was like, hold on. So I added him into that phone call. And it was any way possible he could be derogatory towards us and towards Will. And he goes, the guy's like, I bet you fuck your dad in the ass. I was like, yeah, come over here and I'll be glad to show you how I do it. Like, I was losing my shit on him.
Yeah. It was a bad time there for a while, and all because we opened a vape shop in a small town, like that had 18 bars and you know just as many churches, and it's like the only thing we're doing is trying to keep people from smoking.
Yeah, and he called Will the N-word lover also, and it's just like finally hung up on the guy. And then he kept calling back, and he kept calling, and I got the police involved, and the police are like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. And it's like, he's threatening me. He's literally verbally threatening that he's going to hurt us. And they're like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Well, one day the cop was in there because we had a lot of the Toronto PD that came and hung out at the shop every once in a while, and the county sheriff would come over. He called me, and he started harassing me, put him on speaker, and the cops literally heard him say, I know your house. I know your vehicles. Read me the license plates of my vehicles. These are where your kids go to school. I know your wife's name. I will come and I will kill you. But before I kill you, I will rape your wife in front of you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And like I said, all because of a vape shop. Like, it wasn't like we were murdering puppies. Like, we're just trying to make people, you know, help people quit smoking. Like, that's it.
That was the final straw. The police are like, okay, we can actually help you do something, you know. It's like, cool, thanks, now that he knows everything about me.
Wow.
Yeah. But, I mean, we got it to stop, and that's what matters. And, I mean, even with all the craziness, I still loved my shop. I still loved being there. And if it weren't for the taxes in Ohio, we probably would have still been open.
Yeah.
Right.
The taxes got us, and we couldn't afford to bring in a quantity that would be able to make up for the tax hike.
And at that time, we honestly hadn't thought about the workaround like what Will did with the bring in the zero. Like that never clicked with me, honestly.
Yeah, and you know, we made the decision of, you know what, we want to rescued is more important. Rescued is what we need to be doing, so that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, people suck.
Yeah. So let's talk about something fun.
Okay, so it's gonna be a sad but a good topic. Y'all ready? Let's talk about the dog of the week. And there she is, Kelly. So go ahead and start talking. There are the pups showing.
Okay, so we have 2 puppies this week. We have Rita and we have Violet. You'll know the difference because Rita has little gray spots on her, and Violet
that's who's
is
up
all
right now,
white.
I believe.
Okay, so Rita, the first one that you'll see, is a white boxer mix. She's 2. She's been in the shelter for almost a year. She came in on 4/23/19. She was adopted once and returned, and they returned her because she was just so hyper. And then the other one, the all-white pit, her name is Violet. She's also 2 and also been in the shelter for just over a year. She came in right before Halloween in 2018. And again, was adopted out and returned because of her crazy energy. And then she got adopted again and returned because The landlord found out she was a pit bull. The cool thing about Violet is she does have command training. So she knows things like sit, stay, shake, the things that you want in a dog. Both dogs are incredibly smart. They learn incredibly fast. And with a lot of white dogs, especially boxers and pits, you find that they're normally have hearing issues. And these girls do not have any hearing issues at all. They're perfectly good girls. So both of them were returned because they were hyper. The average time for a dog in the shelter at the Grant County Animal Outreach in Washington, where Margo is, the average time that a dog is there is about 2 months. And they currently have 61 dogs and 58 cats. They are 100% no kill, which means unless there is a medical reason for the dog to be put down, they will not put it down, which is amazing. So they're not sending dogs off to be put down for any reason. They'll keep the dog until it finds a home. So these two girls, Rita and Violet, are ready to go home. They need a home, and they just need someone to love. The cool thing about Washington, that this is the only thing that I'm really excited about with Washington State right now, but I haven't really gotten a chance to learn about a lot of Washington State, is they're always looking for volunteers. And here where we are, you have to take a lot of classes and you have to get approved. For Washington, you do not have to do that. You just go in and fill out an application. As long as you don't have any theft or assault charges or animal abuse charges, you're in. So they're always looking for volunteers, and they're always looking for people to do things like play with the dogs. So if you have the free time and you're in Washington or near Grant County, please go and spend some time with these animals, because these shelters, they can only do so much. And with 61 dogs, they can only spend so much time with each dog. So even if you're just going in and snuggling with that dog for a little bit, it can change that dog's whole life. Obviously, anytime you get a dog from a shelter, there's going to be some craziness. Oh, he came to visit you. There's going to be some craziness when you first bring a dog home.
Hey, buddy.
Because they're excited. It's a whole new environment. It's a whole new thing that they haven't got to experience before. So expect some craziness, and it will go away. It will calm down. So with that being said, I have a lot of training tips, because that's kind of who I am.
No problem. I gotta put the critter corner if that's where you give your training tip.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready. Are we ready?
Yep.
Okay. So there are 6 successful tips when training. You want to be consistent. So always do the same thing. So if you say sit and the dog sits, you reward him. If you say sit and the dog doesn't sit, you don't reward him.
Good.
Don't ever change that. Always be consistent. And then be concise. Make sure that your command is exactly what you want it to be. So if you say sit, that means next time you don't say, hey, sit down. You want to make it the same thing every time. And then be generous. So don't just give a treat and say, hey, good job. Give them a treat. Give them some snuggles. Give them some love. Let them know that they're doing a good thing. And then be smart about it. You don't want to, if a dog is in a hyperactive state, that's not a good time to try to train your dog to do anything. Imagine it being a child. If your kid is running around the house, screaming at the top of its lungs, that's not the time to teach your kid math. Be smart about it. And then be prepared. Don't start training your dog and then go, oh, hey, I should probably, because once you get the ball rolling, you need to stay on it. And make sure the last and most important one, in my opinion, is be happy. If you are going into the training process and you're miserable and you're irritated and you just don't want to do it, your dog is a sponge. It will feed off of that energy. And if you're miserable, the dog's not going to have a good time. The dog's not going to learn anything. So there are 6 tips that you can use when you train your dog, and train them to do something cool. Vengeance, if you point your finger and say bang, he falls over. It can be done. Just make sure you're doing it the best way possible for your dog. Oh, now you're down here?
Yeah. He got tired of me.
Well, I'm not going to go help you eat. You go eat on your own. So there you have it. There's some tips for training for anyone out there who is thinking about getting a dog. These girls in the shelter, they can still be trained. They're only 2 years old. The saying you can't teach an old dog new tricks is completely a lie.
Yeah.
Teach dogs until the day they die, please, because that's how we educate them and that's how we create better pets for us and give them happy, healthy lives. So there you have it.
Do we still? Can we go to Washington and adopt one?
Sure, let's do it.
You guys can visit me while you're up here.
We'll do it.
Done.
We'll bring all the flavors with us too.
Yep. And I'm just driving around and I need something to vape on. They can't stop me. Why I have a truck full of liquid?
No, and it's not illegal to possess, just to sell.
Exactly.
Oh. So can we give it away and then people just make a donation to a different person?
No, they've actually made that illegal. You're not allowed to give it to each other, even consumer to consumer.
Really?
Oh, okay. So I can't just give it to someone in Washington.
Now, do you know of any actual people who have actually gotten arrested or tickets for this yet, for vaping? Or
Only shop, or for vaping or for selling?
say both.
Okay, not for vaping because it's not illegal to possess it or to vape.
Okay.
Only for selling at this point. It's only illegal to sell flavors. And yeah, there's been a couple shops be shut down for selling flavors.
But what about like a consumer to consumer kind of thing, like where they just give it to each other?
No.
Okay.
That would be way too hard to police and way too hard to, no.
My question was always like, okay, say someone were to get arrested today for selling a vape product. Next week, it's no longer a bad thing. So, like, how would the courts handle that?
So the way they're working it with shops is they take away your license for, I think it's 3 months. And once it's gone for those 3 months, whether the flavors come back or not. So we have the Liquor Cannabis Control Board is who polices this, because cannabis is decriminalized here. Not legal, but decriminalized.
Okay.
So it used to be the Liquor Control Board, but now it's the Liquor Cannabis Board. They also handle vapor products. So they're the ones that police us.
So as a consumer, if I was a consumer and I gave it to...
I lost you. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. You're a little bit quieter now.
Yeah, you're a little quiet, but I can still hear you. Can you hear us?
Oh, it says my internet.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, now it's back.
Okay, so Nick and I are both consumers in Washington State, and I have liquid, and I give him liquid. How would they police that?
I have no idea. When they did this, we talked to all of the owners, talked to their LCB agents, and the LCB had no idea how they were even going to police shops. The legislation didn't even talk to the LCB before they passed any of this. Wow. They had no clue how any of this was going to work. They're not worried about the consumer side of it. They're not worried about how consumer is giving it to. They're not worried about that.
Because I'm just imagining the court case, going in front of the judge and saying, what did you do? Well, while it was illegal, I gave my buddy a bottle of vape liquid that tasted like bananas, and like that's going to get thrown out because he's going to go, well, it's not illegal now.
Well, tell me what police officer is going to go in and say, I just saw you hand him a bottle of vape liquid. You're done.
Yeah.
Turn around. You're going to jail.
Wasn't that what they were doing in Massachusetts, though? Like, they were actually sending state troopers to go, or state troopers?
I believe they were doing.
Yeah.
The shop.
Well, I know in Rhode Island, Kara Tibbetts, wonderful Rhode Island advocate and amazing person that she is, she was telling us that the police in Rhode Island said they're not going to enforce it. They're like, this is stupid. We're not, like.
I mean, the cops over here don't enforce it anyway, as it is. Oh, look at that. We have two people.
Easy. They're connecting.
Looks like he's showing her how, maybe.
That's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one thing I'd always wondered is how that works.
Yeah, there's no way to enforce consumer to consumer. I mean, that's how the black market's happening right now is
we can't hear you.
Are you there? We see her.
Nope.
Yeah, I just always
No
thought
hearing
that
you
was
yet,
crazy.
y'all.
We all just need to start talking.
Their microphone's off. It's showing.
It says you're muted.
Okay.
Come on, Mr. Green. You should know how to run this.
Nope.
Nope, no
Nope.
sound.
Still
I
no
don't hear-
sound.
There.
I love the face she's making right now.
I know.
I hear things.
Nope. Still not yet.
No, I can read lips, sort of.
We can hear you.
Oh, there we go.
There we
Oh,
go.
now we can hear you.
Oh, they can hear me.
Yep. Getting a little bit of feedback.
A little bit of feedback.
It's okay. Dangle clacks all around.
Dangle clacks all around indeed.
It's definitely been a show of dangle clacks, especially earlier when we got started.
Yes.
There's still feedback?
Yes, ma'am.
A little bit, yeah.
How bad is it?
It's only when you get close to it. But now we can't hear you. Nope, still can't hear you.
They're working on it. We got this. It's coming. Overdrip says unmute in Zoom.
He is unmuted in Zoom.
Okay.
Muted there.
I don't know how this works.
Okay. It's taken us as far as it can. Can you hear me here or no?
Barely hear you. You're very quiet.
Is there anything you can do, Nicholas?
Oh, wait.
How about there? How about now? I'm sorry, is this the worst test ever?
No, we can actually hear you now.
Okay, is there still feedback?
A little bit, yeah. Try muting Zoom now and talking.
Okay, hang on. Yeah, what do you mean by feedback? That's the next question.
It's a buzzing.
Try talking now. Nope.
Still there?
Yeah. Nah.
Okay, hang on. You said
It is.
mute.
Yes,
Mute.
Pizza Beard. It is the dangliest of clacks.
Oh, pizza beard. Okay, hang on. Let me mute again.
Nope. Now we can't hear you at all.
Zoom is fun.
Right. Zoom and OSB and YouTube.
How about this?
Yes.
Yay!
Oh, yay, success! Thank you, I love you.
Aw.
Oh, hi guys.
Hi.
What's going on, Miss
I'm
Casey?
here. There we go. I'm at the helm of Nick's station, and I'm never at the helm of Nick's station, so I don't know what's going on. There's like a camera here, there's a light here, there's microphones, there's speakers, there's a mixer board. Like, if I could show, I'll take a picture of it afterwards and just show you what's happening right now. Oh, okay, never mind. I can't ruin the illusion. But it's confusing as fuck, and I don't know how any of it works. So I'm sorry.
It's okay. Kelly did the same thing to me. She came up.
Yeah.
We were talking because I almost stayed till close because the owner of the shop I work at got sick. And perfect. Thank you, Nick.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, babe.
Oh, so we actually have something being made for you and Nick right now.
More?
Yeah,
More
something
things.
special.
You already sent us Neko, which, by the way, is oh, I don't know how to make things focus. Nick
I
does
cannot.
a Jedi mind trick, but
Put your hand behind it.
there we go. There we go.
Perfect.
Ah, there we go. There's more stuff?
So one of our friends makes little paracord keychain things, and he makes a Baby Yoda paracord keychain.
Stop it.
So we
Yes,
have two of them being made
facts.
for y'all right now. We're gonna send them up to y'all.
Okay, I won't say a word so that when Nick gets it, he like cries, because it will bring him the most joy.
So, Casey, this is Margo.
Hi, Margo. It's
Hi,
nice.
Casey.
Margo, this is Casey. I don't know if you two have ever met before.
No.
We have not, but it's
Margo
nice to meet you.
is a wonderful advocate for Washington State, and she's been telling us all about the things going on in Washington.
Yeah.
Oh,
She
yeah,
was just
fill
up at
me
the
in.
Senate too, talking to them and testifying in front of them.
Oh, good God. You are stronger than I, ma'am. I had to get off Twitter last week for a couple days because just reading everything that's happening is like, I can't breathe when I think about it. It's that. I just have to kind of like hold my dog and snuggle for a minute so that I don't lose my shit.
I have 60 days before I have 60 days before I can calm down and snuggle with something, because that's the latest part of our legislation this year, our session. But as soon as that's over, then I can breathe.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm looking forward to you being able to breathe already.
Right.
Thank you. Me too. Me too.
Well, she was saying the 7th, the flavor ban, the executive order gets lifted, but they still have some voting that they have to do, and you know.
Is it the 7th that it actually gets lifted, Margo?
So they're telling us the 8th. Here's the thing, is some of us business owners are a little bit smarter than what they're saying. It was signed on the 10th of October at 12:28 p.m. So it's actually the 7th at 12:28 p.m. that it is lifted. So yeah, that's when we will be starting to sell.
Okay.
Because they took it from us pretty quickly, we're going to start selling pretty quickly. It's just a thing. Yeah.
So can you start prepping for that moment and like start ordering stuff and having it shipped to you now?
Yeah, we've started getting orders in ready, and going, that kind of thing. We're not going to be ordering a lot just in case one of these bans do go through.
Right.
But because we don't want to end up with walls of juice like we did with the executive order. But yeah, we've started prepping for it.
That's awesome. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
Come here, Dingle.
Oh, look at that baby.
Oh, it's a dog party. Sorry, Neko is really needy. She's like, Mom is in Dad's office and the world is weird. What are you doing here? Let me in your lap so we can snuggle.
This.
So now
this
Casey.
The one that Nick has a hard time saying.
Which one is this?
This is Velez.
The one he keeps
Velez?
calling Vels.
Oh yeah, he does that. Velez! Oh, look at your little face. I want to pet it so bad.
He is the snuggliest of boys.
Oh my God, I love it. This is my snuggle muffin. Neko is the ultimate snuggler, as you can see. She's like, when can I get in your lap and start licking your face? Oh, security! Velez! What a badass.
We took him to the Central PA Vape Showcase Expo.
Oh.
And when we had him there, we figured we should dress him up so he could be our security and watch over us.
I love him. Is he a puggle or a beagle or what is he? Oh,
He is a chuggle, a Chihuahua pug beagle.
A chuggle. Oh, I know. Thank you. Thank you for the kisses, but let's make out later. Let's make out later. Oh my God. This is just dog cat.
We talk about dogs. And then Margo has a couple beautiful puppies.
Oh, I know she's going to get one. Look at her. She's calling him. And I think his name is Hercules. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, come here, Hercules.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Come here, Bubba.
See, now I don't have a dog.
Yeah, you're left out. Nick, you need a dog.
Okay, are you ready for this one?
Oh, that is a big boy with a big head, and I love him.
He is a big baby.
Oh my goodness. Hercules, how old are you?
He's just over 8 years old.
Oh, puppy energy. Oh my God, I love that dog.
So we do need something from you, Miss Casey.
What do you need?
We need some pictures of Neko.
Oh yes.
And we need you to give us Neko's story whenever you get a chance to type it up so that way I can add him to the website. Because that little QR code on the side of the bottle,
yes,
you scan it and you'll be able to get Neko's story like you can with Mika.
Oh my God. Okay. Neko has the greatest story. Can I tell it to you guys?
Yeah, definitely.
Have I told you the Neko story?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I am really allergic to dogs and most of the world. Like honestly, like Hercules, I love him. I can never pet Hercules. I will die. I will feel terrible forever. And it's a horrible thing to have when you love dogs and animals as much as I do. Like, I'm allergic to horses. I'm allergic to all sorts of weird animals that, like, there's no business being allergic to. So long and short, I have always wanted a dog. Always, always, always. And I was researching, like, all the hypoallergenic breeds, trying to figure out what could work and yada, yada, yada. And I was focused on getting a Wheaton because I'd met Wheatons and I didn't have issues with them. So, but I wanted to rescue a dog. I didn't want to buy a dog. I wanted to find a dog and like give it a home and do the whole thing. And so as Nico's like trying to make out with me, she's like, let me lick your mouth. So I was living in San Diego and I just started reaching out to all these rescues and explaining to them like, look, I'm allergic to most dogs, but if you get one of these hypoallergenic breeds, I'd love to come in and meet them and see if it could be a fit. And there's a rescue in Tijuana, just south of the border from San Diego, called Baja Dog Rescue. And the guy was super nice, super helpful. He's like, hey, I'll have some dogs in San Diego on Saturday. I have one that's a poodle mix and one that's a Wheaton mix that you can meet on Saturday, and we'll see if your allergies are okay. And if they are, maybe you find a friend, and if not, we'll keep looking. I was like, all right, perfect. So that was on like a Monday. He's like, I'll see you Saturday. Wednesday afternoon at like 4:00, the guy calls me. He's like, hey, really weird situation came up, but have you ever met any Schnauzers? I'm like, Schnauzer? No, which one is a Schnauzer? He's like, you know the bearded ones? I'm like, yeah, I guess. No, I've never met him. He's like, well, I know they can be hypoallergenic, and there's a Schnauzer that was at our rescue that has been adopted twice, and someone just turned her back in because she was a Christmas present for somebody who couldn't take care of her. So be responsible and don't adopt pets as gifts if you're not willing to work. That's my message. And he said basically, you know, he fosters dogs on this side of the border. Long story short, he wasn't going to be home the next day. So the dog was going to have to go to dog daycare before he could get back to Tijuana and get her back to the shelter because people just surrendered her to him. He said, so if you're open to it, if you could come pick her up now, you can spend 24 hours with her in your house, get like a full-on allergy test, basically, like let her study, see how it goes. And if it works out, then maybe it works out. And I said, yeah, okay. So I just got my car and I drove down there, and I walked into this guy's house, and he has 2 dogs of his own. And then this one was 8 months of just furry snuggleness, just 8 months old little furry, ridiculous Neko. And I walk in the house and I open the door, and she immediately just comes running at me full force, like, playtime. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like giving her pets and loves, like much like this. And he's like, just sit on the couch and see if she'll like come sit with you and snuggle you, whatever. And I sat down on the couch, and she immediately jumped up in my lap, curled up into a ball, and fell asleep. I was like, well, fuck, okay. You come home with me, let's hang out.
Is that how you get a dog? Because I'm pretty sure you got a dog at that moment.
I got a dog the second I opened the door. And so I brought her back to the house, and, you know, we're just like hanging out and feeling it out. And we wound up sleeping on the couch, all snuggled up all night, like just kind of hanging out. And the next morning I called him and I was like, you know what? Even if I am allergic to this dog, this is my dog. That's it. Emergency dog adoption. This one's mine, and whatever. And so he told me the full story of her was that she was tied to the fucking fence of their shelter as a Tijuana street dog at like a couple months old. And they took her in, and somebody adopted her. And then they found her again wandering the streets of TJ, and they called the person that adopted her, and they said, no, it just didn't work out. We can't find her. So she was back in the shelter, and then someone else adopted her as a pet for Christmas, had her for a couple weeks, and said, we can't handle it, and surrendered her back, and then she went with me.
Aww.
And that's how we got together, me and my Mexican babe. Yes.
Well, she looks happy. And
She
that's
is-
important.
She is stupid spoiled. It's not even funny how spoiled she is. But I think she's got a pretty good life, and she's pretty cute. I mean, come on.
Growing up, I had a Schnauzer. Her name was Pepper.
Oh.
And she was probably 12 when I was born. And she lived to like 20 years old. And that dog, I remember, like, she would bite at my feet. If I wore slippers, she hated slippers. And she would, had no teeth, no front teeth, but she would beat the shit out of my slippers. Like, they were not allowed. And me being a little kid, I used to, you know, stick my slippered foot in front of her, like, because it was funny to me. And no one taught me that you shouldn't do that, you know? So I tormented that poor little dog, you know?
Oh, that's okay. We learn. And I'm sure that dog really actually loved eating your slippers.
Probably. She was, like I said, she lived to like 20 years old before she went in her sleep, which I was okay with, but I was like 8, you know. So my little sister and I, we still talk about her every now and then. We'll say, remember Pepper? And how she used to chew on our feet. And...
Oh, Pepper the feet chewer.
So how did Neko get its name?
I am a really huge fan of Neko Case. I don't know if anybody's hip to her. She's a singer, songwriter, indie rocker chick. And she was the only person named Neko I'd ever heard of, so I thought Neko was a lady's name. And then I quickly learned it as a Mexican dude's name because everyone thinks Neko is a man because she's named Neko. I'm like, actually, I know the one Neko that's a woman, and that's what she's named after. But
now, did we spell it correct on the label?
You did. You nailed it. Neko. That's it.
Kelly
Perfect.
corrected me like 4 or 5 times.
I did.
Well, because people spell it Nico, Neco, Niko. I mean, there's like 95 spellings. And of course, the Neko one is the unusual one that the one woman named Neko uses. So that was fun. But yeah, that's it. But it's okay. Whenever people call her a dude, I'm like, it makes sense. She's got a beard. She's a bearded lady. Like, look at her. This looks like a dude.
She's so pretty.
And I put her in a gray hoodie and like a little, I mean, she's pretty masculine.
That's okay.
It's okay. She just doesn't do pink well, you know? She's more of a tomboy, aren't you?
Velez is pouting right now. He's like throwing the biggest of fits because I put his laser. I put his laser away. He really wanted to play with his laser and I wouldn't let him.
Yeah, he's like, it's playtime. What are you doing and why are you not paying attention to me?
Yeah. But I mean, that's how all dogs are, I think.
Oh yeah. This one especially, I just got home like 5 minutes before jumping on this stream. So she's like, you haven't given me my usual affection when I walk through the door. Oh, we're laying down on the headphones? Oh, okay. Hang on. You got paws and you're tying me up. Okay.
Margo, is Hercules like that too?
Like he's been throwing his rope on me, trying to get me to play, and he's so big. There's not just a little play with him. He jerks you all around the house, and yeah, it's not just a little playtime with Hercules. It's a big playtime.
Well, don't you also have a little dog?
We do, but she's a little princess. She doesn't do much of anything but cuddle under the blankets or in her. We have kennels for both of them. That's kind of their area. We leave the doors open. They have their beds in there and kind of their security areas, right? We don't.
Yeah.
She sleeps in her kennel 90% of the day, and she comes out when she needs to go potty or when she needs to eat or when she wants to see you. That's it.
It's on her terms. She's like a cat.
Absolutely. She's a min-pin, and she just, or when she hears something hit the ground food-wise, then she's right there. Other than that, she doesn't play.
That's Neko, when she hears a Ziploc bag opening, game on. She will come flying out of wherever she's hiding and just sit in front of you at your feet like, what's falling out of the bag? It's
right.
for me, right?
Yeah, I just have to say snack. If I say snack, because I tried to steer away from the treat thing because like, we have 7 kids, and if I say trick or treat or, like I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. So I would say snack because I wanted it to be a little bit hard. It's not something I normally say.
Yeah.
So now my kids will be like, hey mom, can I have a snack? And then all the dogs it's like, oh.
That one backfired.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid the chaos by saying snack, but.
I'm sorry, I have to wheel back and show you, like, what in the hell are you doing? She's like climbing up.
She wants to sniff everything.
Go down. Get down there. Thank you. She's very graceful. Very graceful.
So we already discussed what we were vaping. What are you vaping?
I'm super boring. I vape the same thing all day, in and out. Since this liquid came out, Ruby will tell you the amount of bottles of this I have ordered. I couldn't even tell you. It's Alice from Lane Cove Vapor. Oh, look, that trick does work. Good job, Nick. Just put your hand behind it.
I can't
Look, I'm
take
like a real YouTuber now.
I can't take credit for it. Your Nick does that all the time. That's how I got the idea.
See? Just Nick's teaching Nicks.
It's Nick squared.
Nick squared. Nick squared.
Mark, is your husband Nick? Because that would just be, or that would be better.
No, it's Dawn.
Oh,
Dawn, let's keep it as far away from Nick as possible. We can't have 3 Nicks discussed on one show.
Yeah, no.
well, we should get Angela in here and her husband's Nick, and we'll just have all the Nicks.
All the Nicks. Oh yeah, Nick Garrity. Yes, there are a million Nicks. But no, I vape Alice from Lane Co. Vapor. It's like a coconut oatmeal cookie. It's just good. It's mellow. I never get sick of it. It's so good. And then I did actually switch up my mod recently, which let me tell you what an adventure that's been. But for any of the yo-yo cool kids watching this, not the real Gerard Butler, aka Lee W, sent me this rad orange hexome
Oh my
in the
gosh.
mail because he knows my favorite color, there we go, that way, is orange.
That's
And
awesome.
Cool.
he sent me, and all I vape now are hexomes. I basically have gone back and forth between a hexome and a Titan forever. And he got me this very incredibly sweet gift, and I got it right around Christmas, and it has not left my hand since. And that's all I vape. I'm the most boring vape. I used to be the wife that would steal Nick's gear every 35 seconds because there's always, right now I'm looking at a desk with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 fucking devices on it, 16, and literally a coffee cup full of pods. Literally. And this is all I use. Since I figured it out 3 years ago, this is my setup, this is my all day, every day. I don't change. That's it.
That's okay.
That's it. I do have a urine pod that I really like that I take to work, and I quit Salt Nick entirely because of that. Salt Nick and I
have
are
my
not
camera
friends.
burn.
I can't do Salt Nick at all.
Does it kill your chest?
No, it makes me insane. My anxiety will go to the goddamn moon. Tight chest, crazy. Yes, chest, but I think that's more just the feeling of so I put a little 6 milligram regular Nick something in there.
That was a burnt pod.
Nobody wants a burnt pod.
That was fun.
You didn't make your noise.
The fake vomit noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. But yeah, this is my all day, everyday vape. You will never see it leave my hand. It will always be the same setup all the time.
And since I didn't ask Margo earlier, I'll ask you both at the same time. How long did you guys smoke for?
I was on and off for, good God, between 5 to 7 years. I was a heavy smoker and never cigarettes. Fun fact, only cloves. I smoked exclusively fucking DeJarm Blacks for really solidly for 3 years when I lived in Nashville and I had a long commute. And ironically, I worked for a vape company at the time. Of all the things and times to really dig in and lean into your smoking, it's definitely when you start working for a vape.
Yeah.
But yeah, my big thing with smoking, I started just socially smoking. That was duh, you have a drink in your hand, why am I not smoking something?
Yeah.
And then when I started having a long commute to work, my all-time favorite thing ever was to just get in my car with my to-go mug of coffee and just chain smoke cloves the entire way to work. That's the hardest thing. To this day, I could go the entire day without touching anything, but the second I get in a car and I'm driving somewhere, I can't think about anything else. It's super compulsive. I'm at the point where my latest order of juice had a bunch of zero Nic in it because I'm convinced that nicotine is no longer actually my issue. It's just the habit.
Yeah. What about you, Margo? How long did you smoke for?
So I have a little bit of a different story there. I had, like everybody, I bummed a cigarette here and there when I was out drinking with my friends or whatever, but I was never really a smoker until I was going through a divorce, and I was getting my bachelor's degree at the same time, became a single mother, and I went and bought my first pack of cigarettes. And then I went and bought my second pack of cigarettes. And my son, who was, I believe, 17 at the time, saw me and he was like, nope, that's not happening. And at that point in time, kids could go into vape shops. It was before, and took me down to the vape shop and helped me. He didn't help me, but, introduced me to what vaping was. And I got a setup then. And so that I didn't even start after my second pack of cigarettes.
Wow.
So that I got the nicotine, I got what I was needing for the stress, I guess, and I've vaped ever since.
Wow.
Were you hesitant about switching over to vape?
I was, because just like anybody, I wasn't sure exactly what it was. I wasn't sure what was in the liquid, especially back then. I mean, I've been doing this for, oh my gosh, 7 years, 7 years, something like that, and 7 years. So I wasn't sure what was in the liquid. I wasn't sure, it was still pretty, new back then. And I wasn't sure about it, but I trusted the local shop owner and I trusted what my son was saying. And I just went for it. And my first flavor was a coconut. It was Coconut Island. Coconut's my favorite out of everything.
I love
Drives
coconut.
Coconut's
me too.
amazing. Coconut is a win.
That has to be a lady thing because I hate coconut.
It's
So does
so
my-
good.
This is like
Yeah.
a coconut, pineapple, pina colada. I don't know. It's ladies' day, so I was like, we got to have a sassy woman on here. So that's Christy.
Oh, maybe I should just leave you ladies to be.
You have
Okay, you can join on Lady Day. It's a
I
lot.
never fully got into smoking, thank God. I mean, otherwise I would have fully fell pretty hard into it. I mean, I was getting there with all the stress between my divorce, becoming a single mom, and finishing up my bachelor's degree. I was going full on into it.
Yeah, that's life
Mhm.
right there.
Yeah. And I was worried about vaping, but then once I started, there was absolutely, I had an ego pen, I think, that I started out with, and, 15 mil of juice, and it was expensive back then, way more than it is now. But yeah, it actually saved my lungs, and I was already a cancer survivor at that point, so cigarettes were not something that I needed to get started on. But yeah, so it was just the beginning for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy to think back though to your first vape and what it was?
I still have all mine.
Like
I
what
still have mine. I think it's in Nick's office somewhere.
what year did you all switch to vaping?
I'm a vaping baby. I've only been vaping for 2.5 years.
Even 2.5 years when you think about
No,
that
how long?
and what you were
Oh,
vaping.
I don't know.
About
Nick says longer than that.
Three and a half, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I smoked for 25 years. I had my first cigarette at 9, and I would
At 9.
at 9. I mean, and I wouldn't say that I was officially a smoker at 9, but I would steal them from whoever had them. And I think I was about 16. I grew up in the foster care system. So when I was about 16, I was finally adopted into a family, and the dad was a smoker. And he looked at me and said, here's the deal. I will buy you cigarettes, but you're going to work for them. So at 16, I became a full-fledged smoker, and I would smoke a pack a day because my dad would buy them for me as long as I did things like wash the truck and took out the trash, and because he said, I'd rather buy them for you than you buy them from someone on the street and possibly die. And you're not allowed to smoke in your room. You have to smoke outside because I have to smoke outside.
Yeah.
Like it was. And then we went into Steel Valley Vapors there in the chat, and I went in there, and we call him Dad, and he hooked us up, and
Dad.
he'll even tell you that I was the biggest pain in the ass when I would go in there because everything, I didn't like the way anything tasted. It all tasted like hairspray or body wash or soap.
Oh, it was a complete game for the guys at the shop. It was
Yeah,
like
well,
I would go in and hang out, and they would love me because I have certain flavors that I liked. And
yeah.
then I'd be like, okay, well, Kelly's getting off work soon. She wants to come in and pick out a new flavor. They look at me, they're like, hairspray or, body wash or soap? I was like, yeah, good question. And
Yeah,
they'd
That's
walk
the
in.
hardest part though. Like when we talk about flavors, like when I think back, okay, so I was working for a vape company and smoking. And granted, that was at the time when like juice was coming from China. The pure smoker story is kind of a whole thing in its own right. But when I first started saying, okay, maybe I'll switch to this stuff, we had like KR 808s with cartomizers and like all the shit you saw in gas stations, but like maybe souped up. There used to be like an e-cigar we used to sell. The Ego was like the biggest deal ever. You got to remember, this was 2009, 2010. This was like the beginning.
Yeah.
And all I wanted was a clove flavor. I wanted something to replace the flavor that I loved so much in the morning. That was the routine, and what I needed was a clove flavor. And I spent 4 to 5 solid years just trying every clove flavor I could find. And I just found that every time I vaped a clove flavor, I just wanted a clove.
Yeah.
Like, I'm vaping clove light. The fuck is the point of that? Like, this does nothing for me. I don't have the ritual of lighting it, and I can't taste the wrapper on my lip. Like, and it wasn't until 2014, September 30th, 2014 was like the day I actually stopped smoking. And it was because I picked a donut flavored juice. It never occurred to me, like, maybe if you try a different flavor, you won't associate it with this thing that is slowly killing you.
Yeah.
Flavors are so important, and I know we all know this. Anyone that's watching this knows this because you're indoctrinated in this vaping culture and what it's about, and you've probably had this experience, but I don't think people get it at first. I know so many people, and especially at that time, in 2009, 2010, when I was doing customer service for Pure Smoker and all of that stuff, and being on ECF and Vapors Forum and like all the old school places, like there were so many discussions about like what's a good Marlboro flavor and what's good for a Parliament smoker and all these things. And I think back on that time and I go, no wonder we were having a hard time. Like we were switching, and a lot of people were switching successfully, but a lot of people were still struggling with it because it took us a while to figure out how important the flavors actually were to actually make the switch.
I don't know who said it, but someone had once said, you don't do AA meetings in a bar. And
yes.
And that rings true. You don't switch from tobacco flavors and go to a tobacco. And some people do that. Some people are able to do that, and that's great. More power to you. But for me, I went from Marlboro NXTs for at least 25 years that I know of where I was smoking. And the flavor that got me to quit was Anarchist Red, and that's like a strawberry candy. And it was like those little strawberry wrapped candies that Grandma always has.
Oh yes, with the strawberry little seeds on them and the green top. Oh yes, those are great.
That's what it tasted like to me, and I was like, all right, this is it. And that was the beginning of the end.
And I that is the one thing. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm going left field. Sorry, I'm making a turn. But like especially with the advocacy over the last year, I've found, and at work, I mean, I think every vapor has found themselves in this situation that ever since it hit the mainstream and the THC carts just fucked everything up, you find yourself having to explain vaping to more and more people every single day. I mean, my entire office is like, we know you as the chick who vapes. Explain this because this thing is killing people, but I see you using it all day, every day. You have to explain, and flavors keeps coming up where people go, why can't you just vape something else? I said, because you don't tell an alcoholic to go drink bourbon flavored water to be sober.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you put it like that, people go, oh, yeah, because a lot of us drink. More people drink than smoke, probably. That makes sense. You're not going to go tell someone to do something that reminds you, it's the same thing as when you're dieting, right? And you're eating frozen yogurt. You're like, fuck, why is this frozen? Like, fuck frozen yogurt. Give me real, full fat, full calories, dairy ice cream. Give it to me. It makes you want the real thing that much more, because there's not always, the substitute doesn't always actually satisfy the craving. And I think that's a really important thing that people skip over and sidestep in this whole argument when we talk about flavors. And people, especially lately, I hear people saying all the time with flavor bans, like, just be happy you have something today. That doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for people.
Did either of you ladies have issues with like a relapse or have hard time transitioning from vaping or from smoking to vaping?
I did until 2014. Until 2014, I did both. I had tons of little devices and tons of juice and random shit I'd collected over the years. And until I think in 2014, I bought like a DNA 30, little DNA 30, what the hell is it called? A Vapor Shark, the little Vapor Shark box, and a tugboat. And like figured out how to build, which I don't do anymore, thank God. Nick will tell you how bad I am at that. But it wasn't until I like got an RDA and like found a flavor that worked that I actually was like, okay, I can let this go now. But until then, it was just a mishmash of, do I have a vape? Yeah, that might work for a while. Okay, I'm gonna go buy cloves tomorrow and do that instead.
What about for you, Margo? Did you have any issues with wanting to relapse or hard time finding a flavor?
I did not, and I think it was because I wasn't smoking long enough for that to become a problem. Thank God. I'll kind of get into a rut, and I changed.
Margo.
Your voice got weird.
You went robot on us.
Oh, okay, cool.
You're back now, though.
You're back. You're great.
Oh, I'm back. Good. I had to switch headphones. My other ones died.
Okay.
I had to have my husband bring me his. I think because I wasn't a smoker long enough, I didn't ever have that problem. And I've never found cigarettes appealing, I guess. I was doing it because it was distressing. We all get in the ruts of, not being able to find a flavor because we're just sick of everything. But I've always been able to find something, eventually. So, yeah, it hasn't been a problem, really.
Just a heads up, it's a howling party right now. All five dogs have decided that they're going to howl. And it's
they'll
great.
all stop at once, randomly.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Like all at the same time, like someone's down there going, okay, 1, 2, 3, stop.
It's choir practice.
Yeah, it's real hilarious. And it's so funny because you can hear the beagle, and you can hear like the husky and like you can hear all these different voices, but all of a sudden they'll stop. So
That's amazing.
See?
Done.
I love this so much.
I don't know why they do it. I don't know how they do it. It happens and it happens regularly. And we used to be those people that would like scream at them and like try to stomp on the floor and get them to stop or, we just let them go now. It's whatever.
And it's always about the same time at night. It's always either 10:30 or 11:30.
Yeah.
So it's
Maybe
like we
there's
know
a
what time
haunting.
it is.
Who knows? But they howl for a few minutes and then they're done. And then
That's freaky though. That would scare the shit out of me. If Neko barked at the same time every night, like I know that something happens at 10:30.
Our area we live in, when I bought the house for Kelly and me, I was under the impression that it was actually a decent area. And I found out that my buddy that sold it to me,
he lied.
completely
Not true.
lied out of his ass.
It is.
Oh no.
You know how there's always the ghetto where it's like that's where you go to buy your drugs? Well, that's our neighborhood. So,
Oh, the riffraff.
yeah,
we have 6 houses within about a 2-minute walk on either side of us that you can either go pick up your pot, you can pick up your meth, or you can pick up your pills.
it's great.
Yikes.
Which
It's a good thing you have 5 dogs. Nobody's fucking with you guys.
no, we've had people knock on the door, and as soon as the dogs start, they leave. They're like,
Yeah.
nope, not doing this. So,
Game over.
Yeah. Thank
well,
heavens.
when I was remodeling the house before Kelly and I moved into it, when I was surprising her with it, I had a guy that would randomly, oh, hey, baby. I had a guy that would randomly come up to me in the house, like walk into the house and be like, I used to live here. And it's like, get the fuck out.
You don't live here anymore.
And he's like, well, I'm just looking around because I want to see what changes you're doing. It's like, you can get the fuck out. Like, the last time I physically had to, like, make him leave.
Okay, that's terrifying. Also, can we talk about the fact that, one, that's Villas, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dog as before?
Yep.
Okay, I have good facial dog recognition there. Also, you're wearing a Pickle Rick shirt, and I'm just seeing it now?
Yep. It was my attire to work today.
Well,
the best
done.
part about that shirt is his mother got it for him.
This is
She
the
didn't
best thing I've
understand what
seen all
Pickle
day.
Rick was, though.
That's okay. I still truthfully, like, I know what Pickle Rick is. Unpopular opinion here, and I know Grim Green's wife saying this. I understand how confusing this is, but I fucking hate Rick and Morty. I hate it. I hate that show. I can't stand it. I think it's annoying. I don't get it. There's not enough anything in the world to make me understand that show. And Nick has tried to be like, maybe if you just watch like a couple minutes of it. And I'm like, I've watched a couple minutes of it and I can't get into it. But I did see the Pickle Rick little skit. And I was like, this is amazing. That is fantastic. I support Pickle Rick, and that's about it.
So a new member just joined our chat. And if you look at the chat, you see a lady named Akira Brown.
Where can I see the chat?
Oh, I don't know.
Open up YouTube, and then you can do the pop out.
This would make more, this is how good I am with technology, guys.
That's okay. Nick has to set everything up for me.
I didn't know we were in YouTube. That would make more sense.
Akira.
Like, oh, everyone's dialing into a Zoom call. Like, got it.
Akira is the guy we call dad. That's his wife or fiance. We call her mom. And she is the sweetest lady. I love her to death. Like, I wish she lived closer because I would just hang out with her all the time. Like, she's one of the greatest people I've ever met.
Yeah.
So, and she's actually a child advocate. So she advocates for children.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Welcome to the chat, Akira. I'll find the chat someday, I promise.
That's okay. I mean, we can always read it to you. Like, you know, that's important.
I know, I just would like to figure out what's happening at some point in life, you know? Sometimes you just like to know what's going on.
Yeah.
I have to get up for a second. I have a 100-pound pit bull staring me down to go outside. So
Oh my.
I better go to his beck and call.
Yes.
Oh my. Okay, I think I'm finding the stream. Here we go. I get it. I found it.
Just
You
make
guys,
you might
I
want to
could-
mute the stream or the video.
I did that first.
Good
Awesome.
call.
I got this.
I always
put it
forget.
on my phone and muted it. I have a giant computer in front of me where I'm sure I could figure this out, but instead I will use the tiny iPhone screen to read the chat.
See, I got mine right here. Like it's,
Me too.
yeah.
See, I have mine on the screen above. That's why I keep looking up.
Yeah, he's got like this whole like weird gamer system, and I'm like,
But I don't play games.
That's kind of what I'm looking at right now, and I don't know where to look. I know the camera's there, but if I want to see you guys, I have to look here. I don't know how Nick does this. I give him all the props in the world right now. This is the fucking hardest job ever. I feel like I'm on the news right now. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to look.
yeah. My office is actually where I keep all my critters. So
Wait, critters like dogs or like critters you have like spiders and other weird shit?
Oh,
I
spiders
have
and other weird shit.
spiders, snakes, and rats.
Go ahead.
I can never go there.
They're all
I
in
can
cages.
never go there.
They're all in cages.
How many critters are we talking about?
1 spider, 3 snake, and about 30 rats.
What kind of snakes and how big are they? And do you snuggle them? Like, do you
Yes.
hold them?
Mhm.
Yes, all the time.
Okay.
So the snakes, I have a sunbeam, which is native to Thailand. They're not normally a captive snake, so someone picked it up in Thailand and brought it home and said, "This is a great pet," and then went, "No, it's not because it likes to bite people." So
It's a dick.
I named him Ted Bundy because he bites.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
And then I have a California king snake, which is native to your neck of the woods, Casey. And she is just the sweetest snake. She's about 7, 8 years old, and she is just the most gentle thing
Pull Annie
ever.
out.
How big is she? No, let's not.
You're on YouTube.
Oh God! I can
She
like
won't come-
feel it through the screen. Okay, snake. Here's the thing with snakes. Oh God, I sound like such a wuss. Ah, snakes. Okay, they are all muscle.
Yeah.
And when you watch oh God, watching snakes move makes me want to throw up because you see everything about them.
Yeah.
Like, I almost feel like it's like gross porn where you're like, I shouldn't be looking at that.
Oh my God.
Kind of how I feel when I see a snake.
Well, then I won't bring her out. But
I appreciate that.
She
Thank
is
you.
the sweetest
Oh,
snake
God.
in the world. Like, I've had a lot of people that are like, I'm terrified of snakes, and then they meet her and they're like, this is basically a souped up earthworm. Like,
Oh God.
that's the worst thing to say about her. And then
How long is it? How long is she?
About 4 foot.
It's a she, you said?
She.
see, the thing with the snakes is we're not really sure what their genders are, because in order to do that, you have to like push on their pee hole and like push out their sex organs, and that can be kind of painful if you have no idea what you're doing. So it's not important for me to know, so I just assumed.
And honestly, it's quite disgusting when you have to do it with your hands.
Yeah, so I don't want to do it because it's painful, and I'm not breeding them, so I don't have to worry about it.
No, yeah, let's not and say we
So
did.
her name is Annabelle after
She's a gender neutral snake.
yeah. We called her Annabelle. That was the name she came with because of the scary doll.
Yes, yes.
But we call her Annie because wow, it's a cute name. And then my big giant snake we call her Sally. Her name is Sally Skellington. She is a ball python, a cinnamon ball python. So she's kind of a light brown color.
Wow.
Looks like cinnamon speckles on her side. If you look at her markings on the side, they kind of look like skeleton heads, like skulls. So that's
So
how she
she's
got her name.
Skellington.
Yep. So from Nightmare Before Christmas.
You guys are so badass. I like. Also, nobody's ever breaking into your house. Between the 5 dogs, like if I thought about robbing a house and there were 5 dogs, and I was like, I get along with dogs. I could maybe get that far, and then I would see all these fucking snakes and be like, never mind, peace out. These people are way more hardcore than I am. I'm not gonna survive this robbery. Adios.
I have a wall of tanks. You don't see any snakes. There's no snakes visible.
What is that? I see a pattern.
Oh,
That's a blanket.
That's a blanket.
Okay.
No, I
All
keep
right,
a
we're
blanket between the two girls' cases because if Sally can eat Annie if she wants to.
Yeah.
She's that big, and so I keep a blanket in between them so Sally doesn't see Annie, and
Yeah.
Sally doesn't try to get to Annie through the glass.
Like beta fish, but larger.
Yeah. Sally's about as wide around as my arm.
Yeah, every bit, like if you were to put your fingers together, like 2 soda cans put together, that's how wide she is.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's the scariest thing I've heard all day.
She's about 6 foot long. She's done growing, but she is,
Oh my God.
she likes my head. So if I were to have her out, she'd be up here trying to like knock things off my face. Like she doesn't like it when I wear glasses or headphones. She just wants them off.
That's terrifying. And I have to appreciate that my man, Dan Mansfield in the chat, who now is Oh My Danta, he changed it instead of Oh My Lanta.
Yep.
I don't know when that happened, but Oh My Danta just said, stay sexy, don't get murdered.
Yes, exactly.
And that sums up how I feel about everything that's happening. Just be safe in there. I know you guys are. You guys are
Always.
responsible pet owners, but for the
we
love
also
of God.
have a tarantula.
You keep that one put away.
Don't
So-
worry, she doesn't come out. She's a pink-toed tarantula, and she actually
Pink
has
toad?
yes,
Yeah.
she actually has adorable little pink toes on this blue spider. It's
And
super
her
cool.
fangs are pink too.
That
No.
sounds kind of cute, actually, and charming.
No.
She's-
Between Margo and I, we're just no fun. Margo's like, fuck the spiders. I'm like, fuck the snakes. All right, between the two of us, let's keep it to dogs. Please and thank you. Oh my God.
Yeah. So the cool thing about I call her Pinky Toes because she has pink toes,
Oh,
and so the cool thing about Pinky Toes is she came from a pet store, And there was a guy who was the manager, and he got her in, and he filled out all the paperwork for her. And when they get them, they're in these little tiny, I don't have one with me, but they're in these little tiny, like almost like Chinese food soup bowls.
Yeah.
They're in the, you mentioned beta. They're in the beta bowls, but a little bit shorter.
The little plastic ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so she was in one of those, and because she was so little, they couldn't put her in with the rest of them. She wasn't ready to be sold yet, so they were keeping her in there until she could get bigger. Well, the guy left to go on vacation, and he was gone for 2 weeks. And when he came back, he was like, hey, do you guys still have that pink toe? And no one could find her. And he's like, I found all her paperwork. Did you sell her? Like, what's going on? Eventually, they found her.
But another week later.
About 3 weeks after they got her, they found her underneath a shelving unit in her little Tupperware thing. She had been there for 3 weeks without any food or water.
Oh, poor
So-
And
dog.
this is a reputable pet store. This is an actual, real pet store.
Yeah, it's not like
It's
a
like
little,
a tiny spider.
yeah. So she's about the size of my palm.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not tiny. Never mind. That's big.
So
I
like
should
this
be
is
able to find that Tupperware.
my slam piece next to my hand. Like it's,
Wow.
she's not tiny. And yeah, so she was there, and a girl brought her to us and said, hey, do you guys want her? Because we don't know what to do with her. So we now have a tarantula.
You guys just rescue every pet.
We do.
Yeah.
All the
And-
pets.
And I'm 100% with Margo. I hate fucking spiders.
But you have a tarantula in your house.
And I'm dealing with that on a day-to-day basis. And
You're coping?
I am. And like one of the ways I coped was I went out and I bought Pinky a brand new house.
I'll cover her and I'll show you the house.
Like, so a nice little small little glass
She's nice
aquarium.
and covered.
Oh, she's
Nope.
got a bitchin' house. Look at that.
Yeah. So she's
And
got a nice
originally
house.
she came in this horrible little plastic container, and I was like, hey, we have dogs. That's not a good idea.
Yeah, that won't go well.
Because the rule was when we got her was if she gets loose, I go loose out of the house.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you. If she goes loose in your house, I'm just going to walk out of my house for
Yep.
security.
Nick-
Never
Out of an
comes back.
abundance of caution.
He has already told me that if the snake gets out, we're getting divorced.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Not
I
the
didn't
snake.
say that.
If the spider gets out, he's basically leaving me. Like,
Yes, I did say that. I said either the house will burn down or you will prove to me that you caught the damn thing.
Oh my
Until
God.
then, I will live at Dad's.
I heard the craziest snake story ever recently on a podcast. Oh my Danta on My Favorite Murder. Does anybody listen to this podcast on this show? Margo, are you a My Favorite?
No, but if it's a murder, then I will totally listen to it because I'm all about that.
It's a hilarious, it's a comedy true crime podcast, which I know those words all together, everyone's like, the fuck? But you just gotta go with it. There are some really funny things. But they do random episodes where they do like listener mail and stuff, and they read crazy stories and ghost stories and whatever else. And there was this crazy story where these kids had a snake growing up as a kid, and it just went missing. They just lost it.
Yeah.
And they searched the whole house high and low. They couldn't find the snake anywhere. It had been like over a year. They're like, the snake is gone. Like it's either dead in the basement or like we just don't know what happened to it. Fast forward, the kids are at home with their babysitter, and they had like this marbly fireplace that was the same color as the snake. And they're sitting watching TV, and one of the kids notices like the tiles are moving. And next thing you know, they're trying to catch the snake because the snake has been chilling on the fireplace, blending into the tile for over a year. Couldn't catch it. Babysitter freaks out. They wind up running out. The mother came home. The mother had to put the snake down, let me put it that way, because of how aggressive it had become in free time. But what the fuck? Could you imagine there's just a snake free in your house for a year and you don't know about it and it's just camouflaged on your fireplace?
Oh, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I would be too. I'd be fine
I'd be
with
cool
it.
with it.
Nope.
Oh, I would never sleep again, ever. I would never sleep again.
I love ordering pizza because these people will come to my house and knock on my door And between all the dogs, like normally all the dogs are inside with me. But again, because, we're doing the show, I can't focus on them and what they're getting into and the show. So they're in their rooms. But normally they're out running around living life with me. And I always have at least one snake out because, that's just who I am. Mm-hmm. And I'll answer the door with my giant python around my neck, curled up over my head, and all the dogs loose in it. And the first couple of times the pizza guys were like,
"Oh my god!"
they're like, a couple of them were just like, "Yeah, I'll just leave them here. Yeah."
Yeah, I would drop the pizza and be like, "You're good. It's on the house. Goodbye."
Yeah,
backing away slowly.
Now it's actually in their system. Like, hey, this woman's crazy. So they always send the same 2 or 3 guys to the house that aren't terrified. So
wow,
I
would freak out. I wouldn't know what to do. I would not know what to do. If I showed up to your house and you had a python draped over you, I would genuinely not know what to do. Be like, "Kelly, I'm so happy to see you. I can't come anywhere near you. And I hope that you have a great night. And I gotta go. Goodbye."
I was talking to someone yesterday. I was actually talking to John Papa Smurf. I can't ever say his last name. I know it starts with the Papa and there's a whole bunch of other letters.
Just call him Papa Smurf. That's what everybody else does.
Papa Smurf. And we were talking to him, and he basically asked me, why did I become this nice person, basically? And I said, years ago, I was a heavy drug addict, a heavy smoker. I was married to a man that beat the shit out of me every day. Every day. And I went to work one day and I had 2 black eyes. My jaw was all busted up. And this little old lady looked at me and said, "If you wouldn't be okay with your daughter living your life, why are you?" And I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense. So I sat down and I thought about it and I said, you know what? If my sons brought home a woman like me, I'd be pissed. I'd be so mad. If my daughters turned out to be like me, I'd be mortified. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to change this. I'm going to be a better person so that way my kids have a better example. And it all just one day I just woke up and I was like, you know what? I'm a good person. And, I became obsessed with doing what I can to advocate for animals. And now I'm advocating for harm reduction. And
it's amazing.
Yeah.
You're such a badass. I'm so intimidated by you. And seriously, don't ever come to the door with a snake. But that's amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah. So that was my turning moment. Is I still smoked for several years after that, but I got free of the miserable ex-husband, and I became more about making sure things are being done in the best way possible. It may not be fun, it may not be right, but as long as it's good for everyone involved, and who cares?
I think that's all we can do in life is just try and always be better and remember that you have to. I was just having this conversation on my way here. That's so funny, but at a certain point you have to let go of what doesn't serve you. Exactly. This no longer adds anything to my life. This doesn't serve me. And whether it's something that's truly horrible for you or something that you just go, this isn't how I want to spend my time.
Yeah.
Life is too short. I'm sorry. I know. I want to snuggle too. But life is too short for that. And the thing that reminds me of that, besides Nick being an amazing husband and partner and everything else in life, and I'll spare you all the goopy, ooey gooey details, but is having a dog.
Yeah.
When I got Neko, that changed my life. Having a dog was the best decision I ever made, because dogs don't give a fuck what kind of day you had. And dogs, they don't give a fuck. They're just here, being adorable, trying to snuggle you and trying to get fed and just remind you that take a minute for yourself and think about what you want, because she's just going to be happy no matter what. She's just going to want to play and snuggle and hang out and have quality time and be with people she likes.
Yes.
And that's it. And that's what life is. And that's what it should be about.
Now, Margo, you said you don't like spiders either.
No, not at all.
If you ever have them around your house or anything like that, if you use a little bit of peppermint oil, they won't come and bother you. They hate peppermint.
Ooh.
I've heard that. Fortunately, my husband has his pesticide spray license. He does part of that for work. And he gets some of the best shit ever. And he sprays in the fall and in the spring. He sprays my house and my neighbor's house, and so he takes care of those nasty things for me.
He's the MVP of your neighborhood, right
oh
there.
My gosh, we get some of the nastiest, biggest spiders here. It's horrible. And we have brown recluse that in my area that when they bite you, your skin kind of decays and falls off. We have black widows. We have some of the nastiest freaking spiders. No. And people ask me why I'm not afraid of snakes. I mean, I will reach down and pick up a rattlesnake. I know how to pick them up. I know how to work with it. I worked in pet stores. I've done it my whole life. But I'm afraid of a spider. A spider will bite me, and I don't know if I'm going to die. If a rattlesnake bites me, I know what to do, right?
Yeah.
A spider will bite me, and 2 days later, I could be dead and not know what killed me. So I have this fear, like this thing. I don't know. And they have too many legs.
Developing a whole new set of fears based on this conversation right here.
Anytime we can help, Casey.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Put me in a bubble and roll me to work, please. I'm good there.
Well, that's why you got to use the peppermint spray we sent y'all.
Oh, I know. Oh my God. Okay, so I have to tell you a really embarrassing story. I hope Nick is getting a second to watch this because he will just start cracking up from the other room. So you sent us this great peppermint mouth spray. I realized at this age in my life that I have actually never used a mouth spray, ever. I just haven't. I don't know why. I've just never encountered one. I pop a mint, I pop gum, fresh plenty, never used a spray. So Nick the other day is like, you gotta try this spray. It's really great, blah, blah, blah. So he hands it to me. I didn't know how close to get. I didn't know what to do. So I'm about yay far away, and I just spray. Let me tell you, that is not how you do it.
No.
That is not what's supposed to happen. Oh, Nick is in the chat. So that's not how that shit is supposed to go down. I have spray everywhere. I get a little on my tongue, but then you lick your lips and now it tastes weird because it's not where it's supposed to be. It's all over my face. It's sticky. I just fucked it up hardcore. And Nick the whole time is just standing there crying, laughing, what the hell are you doing? Do you not know how to use this? And I was like, apparently not. Apparently I missed the memo. And so I successfully navigated it shortly thereafter, and it was delightful. But my first shot was not the experience you guys were shooting to deliver, let me tell you.
Okay.
And it was
I've watched
100% user error.
I watched people squirt it in their eye.
Oh, yeah.
My gosh.
I was about, I don't know, Nick can attest to this, but I'd say I was about a half inch off. It was everywhere. It was all over my face, and I'm sure the face I made was like, what the fuck? This thing doesn't work right. It just attacked me. And it's like, no, you are a very special breed of person who couldn't figure out how to use it. Let's call that user error and not blame the spray.
So I don't know if my Nick put in the letter what that breath spray actually is.
Hang on, we have a visitor.
It was it was one of the single funniest things I've ever seen in my life. She was literally, by the way, these are amazing.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Love them. I can't hear you guys, but these are rad. I've already blown through one of them. Now I'm on to whatever the red one is.
It's the same thing.
Same thing, different
Just
label.
for a solid half a foot. Ew, that's terrible. I was like, yeah.
Excuse you, are you taking over now?
I just came in here to get this because you were late.
Yeah.
So in the letter I put in there, it's actually does Neko ever do the reverse sneeze where he's honking?
Yes.
Kind of sounds like a
Oh,
honk.
yes. Yes.
So if you take this and you squirt it into his mouth, one squirt.
Her.
Yeah.
Sorry,
okay.
the bearded lady.
We accept. It's fine. You
One
spray that
squirt?
into her mouth?
Yep, it's perfectly safe, and it'll actually help them calm down, so that way they can actually catch their breath. And because we did this also for our dogs.
So the cool thing about it is because it's an isolate, so it's 100% THC free, because THC is bad for dogs. Anyone who like gets high and blows smoke into their dog's face, that's technically abuse because the THC can actually hurt the dogs.
Yes.
So it's an isolate, so you don't have the THC. It's only 100 milligrams of CBD, so it's not a whole lot of anything.
Yeah.
But if your dog is doing that reverse sneezing, the peppermint will open up the blood vessels and capillaries in their nose and make it so they can breathe a little bit easier, and the CBD will calm them down. The reverse sneezing is one side of their nose gets clogged up and swollen and glued shut, so they can't breathe, so that they're freaking out because they can't breathe.
Interesting.
And
So-
Margo, I think I put one of these in your package I sent you also. It's probably going to have a green label, though, because we moved over to green labels.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it for humans or is it for dogs? Or
It's
both?
for
Both.
humans, but you
Okay.
can share it with your dog. So for me, having a million animals, if I'm out somewhere with my dog and I'm feeling anxious, I can give myself a squirt or two and I'm good.
Right.
If I'm with my dog and my dog's also anxious, just squirt it in their mouth too. It's perfectly safe.
That's
Perfect.
super fascinating.
Now,
Right.
the other thing, though, about these, since it's
Yes.
peppermint, it is not safe at all for cats.
Yes.
The
Do not
peppermint
use
can
it
kill
on
your cat.
Okay. Good
Yes.
to know.
So, Margo, I know you have a couple kitties.
Yeah, they're okay. So I'm not a cat lover. They're my family. I'm a
you.
dog lover.
With you.
I would not own the cats if my husband and my daughter did not want them.
I mean, Nick and I are both allergic to him. He's more allergic than I am. I'm more like sneezy, runny nose allergic. He's like, my eyes are swollen shut and I can't see anymore allergic.
Right.
So
We found that out when we went to go visit her family, and I did a 45-minute drive home, and I could barely see.
yeah.
I'm allergic, like I just don't like them. Anyway,
I'm allergic to their personalities. So
yeah, you know,
That's
when they think they're queen of the house and I'm actually queen of the house, that becomes a problem.
I get that. I am in the Nick camp of I will die. I can't breathe, I can't see, I can't function, and it's so much worse because I don't hate them. Like if there's a real cute, like the bitchy ones, I'm like, I see
Yeah,
your sass and I'm not into you. And those are the ones that are always like, but I'll come rub on your leg and
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But if I see like a real cute kitten, I'm always tempted. And the second I pet them, it's like instant regret. I'm like, I just fucked my entire day.
Yeah.
And sinus infection, here I come.
I mean, thankfully, I'm not that bad. I can snuggle them and I'm going to sneeze. I'm going to have a runny nose. I'm going to be slightly inconvenienced until I can wash my hands and get away from the cat. You know, that's not that bad. However, I am swollen eye, puffy, like damn near dying, allergic to cows.
Really?
So, yeah, anything that has a dander, you can be allergic to.
I know this because so I don't have a lot of firsthand experience with cows, shockingly enough, in Southern California.
Yeah,
In beautiful Los Angeles, we don't have a lot of cows roaming. But
Unless they're in the restaurant already, huh?
yeah, like unless I'm eating it and it's a fillet and it looks real good.
Right.
But I have a lot of random allergies all over the map. Dust, fuck off. Like all of it. Dust, weeds, fucking pollen, trees, every fucking tree you can think of. Kentucky bluegrass, ironically, really allergic to. But they did a whole allergy panel for animals. I'm allergic to horses. I'm allergic to chickens. I'm allergic to cows. I was like, when am I ever going to need this information? And apparently it's right now for this live stream.
Exactly.
You're not alone in your cow allergy.
I only found out because, you know, in my previous marriage, my ex-husband was very paranoid of the government. And so we had to live off the land because he didn't want any way for the government to find us, which I was like, they're going to find you. Like, we live in this country. They're going to find us.
Do you have a Facebook account? You are found.
Yep.
Yes, he does, ironically. But it was one of those things where I'm like, all right, whatever, you know, I'll do what you say. So we got cows, and I was like, all right, I'm an animal person. Let's go milk some cows. And I'd go out there, and I'd make it about 3 seconds in the barn, and I'd be like on the ground gasping for air, and he'd come out and be like, "Why didn't you milk the cows yet?" And I'm like, "I can't breathe." And so
Yeah.
like,
They're trying to kill me, literally.
yeah, so I went to the doctor. They're like, "You're allergic to cows." I'm like, "Great, this is gonna work well for my ex-husband who wants to live off the land."
Yeah, my newfound farm that I have.
So we sold the cows and we got goats. So we had 200 different types of goats. Well, there were 3 different types, but 200 goats altogether. And
Goats are amazing.
That's how we lived for a while, was goats.
Fainting goats are the best.
I know, those YouTube videos just warm my little heart and then break it, but I love them.
Baby
They're
goats in pajamas.
Oh my gosh.
Those are the best ones. Like
I love them.
Yeah.
I don't want to pet them. I just want to watch them run around on YouTube. Same thing with like little pigs. I don't want to go near them, but show me them with zoomies all day long. I'm good with that.
We had a pet pig. We had a potbelly for a while. My youngest daughter, she's 10 now. She was about 3 when we got the pig, and she wanted to name it. And I was like, all right, fine. Well, we had just recently had the conversation of where bacon comes from for some reason.
Yes.
And I told her that, pigs make bacon. And she's like, okay. So she named the pig Bacon, which I was
That's
like,
incredible.
That's awesome.
that's kind of bad, but whatever, the pig doesn't know. And one morning I couldn't find her. I was like, where did my daughter go? Like, I'm like wandering around the farm looking for her. I went out to the barn and she's trying to get into Bacon's pen with a bottle of ketchup because she wanted to eat some bacon.
That's
like,
incredible.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That doesn't work that way, Reefy, but
I mean, you're close. You
Yeah.
are really close, but there are a couple steps in between that are not going to be awesome for you.
yeah.
There are a few really critical steps you don't know about that I promise you don't want to know about. Nor does bacon.
She was telling me yesterday that there's some goats, or not goats, there's some deer that come around Grandma's house, and she really wants to make them her friends. And I'm like, well, we got to get you some corn. She's like, Mom, we don't have any cans of corn here at Grandma's house. I'm like, no, honey.
Oh.
So when I go up there, I'm going to take her some corn, so that way she can have corn at Grandma's house to catch the deer and make friends.
I love that. I love that. No one believes this when I say it, but I grew up in New Jersey in the middle of nowhere, like in the middle of the woods. People don't realize that part of New Jersey exists, but I swear to God, it looks like Lake Tahoe where I grew up. Like there's not another neighbor around my parents' house for a mile. You can't see houses from the street. There are farm animals. There's all sorts of crazy shit going on in New Jersey. It is the Garden State. So like you have to assume that those areas exist. That's where I grew up. There's no traffic light in my hometown to this day. Not a single one. There's no sidewalks. There's no street lights. Like it's like rural. But our backyard backed up to like the reservoir land. Like this is the land of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And there were bears and turkeys and deer and coyotes, and like all sorts of crazy fucking wildlife out there. And I used to always want to make friends with the animals because they're so cute. We would watch like little fawns would be born in my parents' backyard. That was amazing. I was like, I want to hang out with a baby deer. My dad's like, that thing will literally rip your face off.
That will
always. Like that was like always the warning. He was like, don't you dare. That thing will actually eat you. It will actually come after you. Don't do it. So there was one time when I was a kid that there were a bunch of bears. There was a family of bears that used to walk through. It was like a mom and like 3 cubs. I thought I had a brilliant plan. I was going to put some jelly donuts in the backyard for these bears because I was like 10. And that's amazing. And so then the bears came. They started eating the freaking donuts and like sitting like little bears eating donuts with their little bear hands. Like the cutest thing you can ever possibly imagine. And my father is freaking out. He's like, this is beautiful, but like, how the fuck did they get jelly donuts in our backyard? I'm like, I did it. My dad looks at me like, did you do that? I did. He's like, you can never do that again. And you can definitely never go outside while that's happening. But I still remember that as like the cutest thing ever. I was like, but if I just went out and pet them, they'd understand that I gave them jelly donuts and be grateful.
They'd be okay with it.
They'd be fine.
Until Mama found out.
until the mama bear realized I was anywhere near her cubs, and I would not be here with you all.
Yeah, please don't die. That'd be sad.
That's okay. I think we're good now. In LA, I'm not really worried about running into a bear.
I remember a video one time, I believe it was in LA, where there was a bear in a tree, and they had to get it out of the tree onto a trampoline.
Okay, that's amazing. If there was a bear like swimming in our pool in the backyard, I'd be pretty stoked as long as Neko was inside.
Yeah. Margo, do you have bears up there? I'm sure you have like a million critters up there in Washington.
Oh yeah, we do. I actually, and people don't realize this, but Washington is not all forest. It is half forest and half desert. And I live on the desert side of Washington. So we don't so much have bears on this side, but I grew up in the forest. So I grew up around bears and mountain lions and cougars. And so that was just a normal thing for me. But in the desert side where I live now, we have coyotes and deer and elk and coyotes, cougars, that kind of thing, mountain lions. Yeah.
Amazing. Wait,
Yeah.
so there's desert in Washington?
Half of Washington is desert, yes.
I never knew that.
Really?
I never knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, most people don't. I mean, with all this vape stuff going on and the advocates traveling from all over the place, I'm usually the one to meet them and bring them around, and nobody knows that. I can't believe how many people think that Washington State is all mountains.
It was all
all
mountains
of
and
it.
trees. Like that's just,
No. So the east side of the state is all deserts, pretty much.
okay.
And, yeah, until you get towards the northeast, and then it's a little more, you get a little more mountains up there. But you have the east side, and then you have Seattle side, and you have to cross the Cascade Mountains to get to the Seattle side, and that's where the mountains begin.
Oh,
I never knew this.
Yeah,
I need to look at a map, but I believe you.
like it's complete desert. Where I live, it's all sand dunes.
Really? Like
yeah.
desert.
Desert, sagebrush, sand dunes. It's complete desert. It's
They're
like
not so far apart.
it's complete. Washington State, you get almost every type of ecosystem you could think of. There's regular forest, there's rainforest, there's desert. It's completely. You have ocean. It's completely. It's different all over.
That's the crazy part of the West Coast. Like growing up on the East Coast, you have your idea of what the West Coast is like.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come out here and you're like, timeout.
Right.
So it takes me 8 hours to drive through one state, which is already weird when you're from the East Coast and you're like, in 4 hours, I can drive through 4 states and be in Boston and like, yeah, it's cool.
Right.
But in California, it's like in an hour and a half, it's 30 degrees colder. There's snow on the mountain. I know you just came from the beach, but that's a distant memory.
Right.
And then when you go down the other side of this mountain, you are in the straight up desert and it is 110 degrees year round.
Mm-hmm.
And tumbleweeds are flying by and it is fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. Washington, it takes us, you could get across the state in probably 6 hours. But so it's not that big, but the difference in the ecosystems are amazing.
Microclimates. Fascinating.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And then the biggest thing I hear is, so where are the sparkly vampires?
Yeah.
Because I am so sick of hearing that one.
Wow.
sparkly
So you're
vampires.
telling me you don't actually have them?
The last one I saw, no, are you kidding me?
Nick likes to say that I am a vampire because I can't go in the sun.
That's what I say about my Nick too.
But
Can't go in the sun.
I have lupus. The sun is bad for people with lupus, so
Right.
I don't go outside unless it's like 70 degrees and slightly overcast. Then that's like perfect for me to go outside.
Right.
The sun
Right.
is the enemy.
Yeah, sun is not cool.
So now,
So,
Margo, with you being so close to the desert, have you ever tried a cactus vape juice?
So close to I am in the desert, and
In
yes,
the desert,
I
yeah.
have had quite a few cactus vape juice, and I actually like the cactus.
See, same.
Flavor.
I grew up in Texas, and we used to grill cactus, and I loved it. And so vape juice was heaven for me.
Right, and I'm in a high Hispanic area as well, so a lot of our grocery stores and things carry cactus, for sale to grill and eat and that kind of thing.
So many
Cool
people are
with
like,
eating.
you can eat cactus?
You can eat it, but I've never thought about vaping it.
Oh,
You've
There's
never
a
had
lot of-
cactus vape juice? Yeah.
No. I didn't know that was a thing that existed.
Yes.
But now
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna have to go find some.
Yeah.
Doesn't Nick do Prickly Smooth?
Yes.
There you go.
That, I
Is
believe
that
that's
cactus?
Yeah.
I thought it was pear.
It's a prickly pear is a cactus and
And a pear.
yeah. I have a bottle
Prickly
somewhere.
pear. This all makes
Trying
sense.
to think of the one that I really like. I'm gonna message my brother.
See, my favorite cactus one was 556 by Guerrilla Warfare. It's a sweet blue agave cactus.
I'm
It
gonna have
is
to
heaven.
take a peek.
Oh, and yeah, like Matt just said, Noms, the X2 Cactus Mandarin Jackfruit's really good.
Yes, that one's amazing. That one is
I
very
like that one.
I
Nom's
have to
good.
investigate. All right.
Oh, and
friends.
then Fitz Jelly. Fitz
Yes.
Jelly has
Yes, that's a
Yes.
good one too.
an amazing one. Yes.
So, a funny story about Fitzcelli. So, our first ever convention, at that moment, we were doing all kinds of crazy things. Like, we decided, like, that day that we were going to open a vape shop. So, that's what we were doing. And we're at this convention, and this guy walks up, and he's got this shirt on, and it says, "I'm Chad." And I just assumed
Yes.
that was his name because his shirt said, "I'm Chad."
That's a fabulous juice too.
And so, like, I'm talking to this guy, and I'm like, "Well, okay, Chad, I'm Kelly." And he's like, "My name's Darren." I'm like, "But your shirt says Chad." Like, I was real confused about that. And Nick had to, like, the guy explained to us, "No, that's the name of the line." And I was like, "Okay." And then he shows us Fitzcelli, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"What's a Fitzcelli?" He's like, "That's the guy's last name." I'm like, "His name is Chad Fitzcelli?" They're like, "Yep." I'm like,
Yeah. Cactus Django is the name of it. It's so good.
So Stephanie in the
All
chat
right,
just
friends.
pointed out.
I'm so sorry. I have to bail, but
Oh,
I
you're
love
good.
you all. I
Well,
have to
thanks-
go. It's
thanks
time to
for
go
hanging
back
out.
to work for me. Thank you for having me.
No,
This was
it's a
fun.
pleasure.
Now that I know how to do it, I'm really excited about it now.
"Well, you're welcome anytime."
Well,
Anytime.
thanks for having me. Thanks for naming a juice after Neko, because I hope you listened to the latest Dogs Barking in the Distance, because we talked all about it and all the feelings that we had about it.
We did. We
'Cause
listened to it today.
I got legitimately really blurry-eyed when the bottle showed up, and I was like, "There's a juice named after it. Oh God!" So
Well, when
Thank
we
you,
get
guys.
when we get the official labels, we'll send you a bottle with an official label on it instead of just the printed out one that I kind of just rigged up real fast for y'all.
perfect, and I'll email you Nico's story and all her photos. You can choose whichever ones you want, but know that I have about 9,500. So
That's okay.
in your way, sliding into your DMs.
That works.
But thank you guys. I love you all. Margo, so nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you as well.
All the things I learned today. I learned a lot from you guys. And Nick is now playing with the lighting in here, apparently. So I guess
And
that's my cue. It's
What we
different.
say here at Rescued every time before we leave is, "We love you and we like you."
Yes.
Oh, that's what Nick and I say to each other all the time. I say, I love you and I like you.
Yeah, because you don't always have to do both.
Because
No.
there's days that I love her, but I don't like her, and she doesn't like me.
I love you and I like you. Oh, that's amazing. I hope that he's still at least getting to listen to it. I know he's doing a bunch of work out there, but that's hilarious that you guys say that. And that just further reminds me that you are my fucking people. And I love the shit out of you, and I love what you're doing. And be safe with all the pythons and tarantulas, and just protect your homestead with all 5 dogs. Everybody be safe. I love you all.
So yeah.
Bye.
But Stephanie in the group was saying about the 556 Reloaded. That's the cactus, gummy worm, and peach.
I don't know.
Which I believe.
We were going to howl again because it's almost 11:30.
Yep.
You know.
But yeah, so the 556 Reloaded is phenomenal also.
Cactus.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
No, it's not my flavor profile. To me, it tastes like baby wipes, but
She's crazy.
that's just me. I mean,
When you need good flavors, Margo, I got you.
All right. All right. All right.
I'm sure you know how, like, if you use a baby wipe to like clean up something, and you have that on your hands, and then like you touch your face or something, like that, it's just that flavor to me. And I mean, it's not a bad flavor to people who like it. It's just, I mean, I also don't like avocados, and I don't like boba tea, and like people are like, "Oh, you're weird." It's just these are not things that I enjoy.
Right.
So like the guys at the shop at Steel that I used to buy it from all the time, they would be like, "Oh, so you're vaping Pampers today?" It's like, really? They're like, "Dude, it smells like a diaper."
Huggies.
Stephanie said it's blue raspberry cactus gummy worm.
Blue raspberry cactus gummy worm. Okay.
It's not something.
I got 2 out of the 3 right.
So I'm not a big blue raz fan, which it's funny because in my shop it is a huge seller. Like that's anything blue raz is a like #1 seller in my shop.
Yeah.
And neither my brother Matt or I are huge blue raz fans. So when we do juice or e-liquid testings or anything, what we usually do is we have a bunch of our regulars sit around with us. We have a huge collection of e-liquids, and we'll like order a pizza or something because we're all about to get Nick sick. And we try it with them because it's not all about what Matt and I dislike, it's about what they like as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And we know that we're not, Blue Raz isn't our favorite, even though it's one of the top sellers. So, yeah. And then we all sit there and we pick what we think would do well and what wouldn't. And that's how we kind of do things.
Yeah. When we had our shop, we would, whatever liquids we would think about bringing in, we'd set up in some Falcon tanks, because the Falcon tank was our main seller. Like that was pretty much the only tank that we would actually move. And so we just set them all up in the Falcon tank, and we'd let everybody come in and try it, and we'd have a piece of paper at the end of the counter, and it's literally check yes or check no. And then right before we closed, we were like, man, we should do like a tasting party, just do dinner with people and just let them come over and vape on it and relax for a little bit, watch TV, and see what they think. But we shut down before we could implement that one.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
It is.
Okay.
And Mike, I am not Satan. I am Satan's mother. Thank you very much.
If you're Satan's wife, that means I'm Satan.
No, I'm mom. I'm Satan's mom.
That's awkward now.
Why?
It's just weird.
You've met my children. At least one of them is Satan.
Yeah.
Okay. So my brother, his favorite e-liquid is purple potato.
I saw that on there, but I was really confused on what that was.
I was hoping that was a typo of some sort.
No, not a typo. Aloha e-liquids. Matt, you're going to have to tell him what the dessert is from Hawaii. It's a potato ice cream. I don't
weird.
know. But
Okay.
it's disgusting. He loves it. And when we travel over to Seattle or to Olympia to go to the hearings or anything, and he goes with me, he is not allowed to vape that in my car. It smells like burnt French fries and starch. I'm like, nope, put that away, choose something else. Do not vape that. It is so gross. Now he's vaping I think it's purple cheesecake from Mama San, and he loves that. There's something wrong with him. It is so gross.
Ube purple yam. I don't know. It just doesn't sound like something I would enjoy.
Ew, it's just, I don't know.
But we've already established, like, when it comes to tasting flavors, like, I can't finger test. If I finger test it, I'll automatically hate it. That's just.
Oh, taro ice cream.
No, I don't know if I would.
That's weird.
And
Sorry,
Aloha has amazing flavors, but that one, and he has everyone at the shop try it, and there's been very few people actually agree with him. Very, very few. Very few.
I need Matt to tell me about the tobacco, because he thinks that there's a tobacco that he likes that I would like, so I'm willing to try it. So I can't wait to hear what this one is. Because I've tried the ones that we did bring in 3 new tobaccos. Did you know that Monster made a tobacco? Jam Monster?
I just saw that. Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, they're in, it comes in a box, and it's 2 30 ml bottles.
Really? It's not salt?
Nope, not salt.
They're just 30 ml bottle.
Yeah. And so we just brought them in. I haven't tried them yet. And I'm hesitant because I hate tobaccos.
Yeah.
But tomorrow I will try them. You hear that, Dad and Mike? I will try them tomorrow.
What is this tobacco that you think Nick would like? Let's see what he says. We've had to try so many, with this ban going on that, I don't know. I don't try them, I make him try them.
Yeah, I can't. Tobaccos are weird. Like, so I smoked cigarettes for about a week or two, and then I moved straight over to the hookah. And it is just, I went straight to Marlboro Reds, and I hated the flavor of them.
That's a smart thing to do.
VTC from Ripes. Okay, so the classic tobacco is pretty good. I will give you that, because you don't get a lot of tobacco taste. You do get a nice vanilla from there.
Right.
I have had that one. That is pretty.
Yeah, the VTC is pretty good.
What was their monkey one that you loved?
Monkey Snack.
Monkey Snack, yeah.
Monkey
Snack was one that Kelly loved the best.
Their key lime is really good.
Oh, Royalty 2 is horrible. Hate it. Blech. Sorry, Matt.
Nope.
I hate Royalty 2. I would rather vape Cubano. I don't think I tried the Bold. I didn't know Royalty 2 came in a Bold. Or are you talking about the VTC?
Well, since Margo isn't terrified of snakes, I can grab Annie.
Oh yeah, I watched the one where you had her out.
One of the ladies in the chat asked if we could do, or I told the lady in the chat that we would do Sally next week. We'd pull Sally out. I don't know if she's still in here or not. I think it might have been Stephanie.
Well, I mean, how about we just leave it up to the chat? Which snake do you want to see?
Yeah.
I got Ted, I got Annie, and I got Sally. You let me know, and I will grab it.
No Ted.
No Ted. Okay. So pick one of the girls, Sally or Annie, and I will go and grab her. Or a rat. I've got a million of those.
The rats are cute. The rats are really, really cute.
Yeah. And I named the one that I'm keeping. I'm calling him Chalupa.
Chalupa.
Well, all the rats have a Mexican food themed name.
That's funny.
Yeah. So their grandfather was Taco Tuesday. He was intended to be food, but he was too big for the snake. So we kept him. And we ended up deciding that it would be easier to breed the rats than it is to go buy the rats. So at $8 a rat, $24 a week, like it's just too much. So we said, you know what, we'll just breed our own. It's a handful of dog food and some bedding of whatever kind we want to throw in there. They're rats. So Taco was the dad. Taco fathered a young rat, and his name is Juan because Juan lost his eyeball to one of his siblings. So he's Juan with one eye.
Oh my gosh.
And Juan is actually his common law wife's name is Queso.
Common law wife?
Well, they can't get married, they're rats.
True.
But Queso is like a light brown, like a queso colored, kind of a light brown, grayish color, so it's Queso. And so now they had a baby, and his name is Chalupa, and he's all white, looks just like Taco.
Mike said Ted's a dick. Is Ted a dick?
Yes, Ted's the one that likes to bite.
Oh.
Yeah, he's bit me 6 times now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not very friendly. He doesn't really like to do things with people. I mean, he was caught in the wild and then packaged up and brought to the United States because that's what you do when you catch a wild snake.
Right.
Yeah, so
why not?
He's not super friendly. He tolerates the touching as little as possible, like to feed him, and that's fine. But you can't really just like hang out with him because he wants to kill you. He's only like 2.5 foot long. So
Yeah.
He's not that big, but he still bites.
Right.
We'll go grab Sally, babe.
Okay. I have to remove my headphones. I'll be right back.
Okay. So now, Margo, do you have anything against colored vape liquid?
So in my mind, it should be as pure as possible,
Yeah.
like any liquid. And adding color to it just adds another ingredient.
Yeah.
So that's, not that I have anything against it. I would just like mine and anything I sell as pure as possible.
Okay, so just as a heads up, Benthol's blue.
Oh, well, and I've carried Heisenberg, yeah.
This was kind of our way of saying fuck you to Heisenberg.
I had some customers when I purchased my Kennewick shop that were crazy over Heisenberg. There was no way to eliminate that. I would have been nuts to eliminate it. So yes, I carried Heisenberg. But I remember when I started vaping, there was was it unicorn's milk or something that was pink?
Yeah.
That was nuts. That kind of, there had to be something in there. And I think people have told me what was in there before that couldn't be good for you.
Yeah, see, ours is safe because of the lab. We make sure of it.
Right.
And like I said, ours is kind of like the, sorry about that, dropped my bottle. Ours is kind of like the fuck you to Heisenberg.
Right.
When we were in Florida, I was walking around and I had my bottle, and I peel things a lot. So I was walking around with just a blue bottle, and the guys at Heisenberg had a booth across the side from where we had our booth. And he's like, hey, how are you enjoying your vape? I was like, I love it. It's my all-day vape. And he's like, you want to come over and talk with us real fast? I was like, okay. And he's like, so you love Heisenberg? I was like, oh, no, I hate Heisenberg. It's garbage. And he's like, well, you're vaping it. I was like, no, this is Benthol. And I pulled out my Easy Dripper, which I also had with me, which has my Benthol label on it. And they're like, fuck you, get away from our booth. And they'd start cursing me out and telling me to fuck off, everything. And I was like, you asked me to come over. You asked if I enjoyed it. I said, yes, I enjoyed the vape I have right now. I gave you my honest answer about Heisenberg. Just like if you gave me your honest answer about Benthol and you hated it, I can live with that.
Right.
Vaping is everybody's individual taste. Get over it.
Yeah, we've tried to make it, I mean, we want everyone to like our flavors, but at the same time, we understand that everyone has a different flavor palette. Everyone likes different things. So just because I like Vengeance doesn't mean you'll like Vengeance. And
Right.
that's okay, because that's what makes us human. And that's what makes you not me. Like, you know, I wish more people would be okay with it. And I mean, for another manufacturer to be so upset because we didn't like it, it's like, well, you know, sorry. It's
Right.
we just don't like it. It's not, we're not saying you're bad people, it's just not our flavor.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I personally don't like Vengeance. Love the dog, but I'm not a fan of the flavor because of the caramel in it. Caramels to me always remind me of coffee, and I don't like them.
See, and I love coffee flavors.
Like you would love Vengeance because the banana is just enough to bring the caramel down from being like overly coffee. And then the caramel makes the banana not so sweet. So it's not
Right.
like candied banana.
Right.
But this is Miss Sally.
Oh, look how pretty she is.
She's a wonderful snake. She's very calm, very friendly. And when she's like crawling around, she'll put her nose her face right here underneath your nose. And then she'll flick out her tongue and it'll go up your nostril and it's like, stop.
She's getting close.
I'm sure it's putting off some sort of, she can see the computer behind it, or
The heat.
yeah, she wants to go to the heat because she likes heat. Because she's a pretty girl. But yeah, she was my first rescue snake. So she actually, the lady that had her was like, hey, I'm pregnant. I can't do snakes anymore. If you guys don't take her, I'm just going to let her loose. And I'm like, we live in West Virginia. Can't really have a python just running around the woods of West Virginia. Like, that's a bad time, you know. So we took her in because, you know, I didn't want to see her die.
Right.
So, and I didn't want to see someone else get hurt. I mean, she is a snake. They lack the ability to know happy or sad or, you know, nice or whatever. So she knows this is annoying me. I'm going to eat it.
Right.
And if a kid's pestering her and not being so kind to her, she might bite someone. I mean, and she is a decent sized snake. So if she were to bite you, it's gonna hurt.
Right.
You know? So, I mean, I was like, yeah, it's just not worth it. She technically could eat a small dog if she wanted to. And I don't want someone to lose a pet because someone else was irresponsible. So
Right.
we brought her home.
It's beautiful.
And right there, that's her skull.
Oh yeah. My goodness.
Yeah. So we have just a few animals. She likes to answer the door with me. I'm surprised she hasn't knocked my headphones off yet, because normally that's what she wants to do, is curl up around my head. Hi, baby girl.
I've had quite a few snakes. Corn snakes. I had a rare African house snake. A couple different rock pythons. Burmese. Gosh, I don't even know all the snakes I've had. I used to work at a pet store, and every time one came in or someone would bring one in that they couldn't sell for one reason or another, I would take it home.
Yeah.
I would take it home. I ended up with 4 iguanas that I named after the freaking Ninja Turtles. Thank you, Matt. Because people would put hot rocks in with them or leave their lamps open and they would burn themselves or, just not know how to take care of them.
Yeah.
So I ended up with 4 huge iguanas. Just, yeah, same thing.
I mean, I've had people tell me how snakes are so dangerous, and a happy snake is like a pet rock. They don't really do much. And
Right.
honestly, Sally doesn't do much.
Right.
She's just there. I offer her food once a week. She eats it or she doesn't. She knows that next week it'll be there. I mean, she's clearly very healthy. She's a nice thick girl, so she's not hurting for anything, but that's all it is. I handle them for my own pleasure. That's honestly it. I mean, she doesn't really care. I've seen snakes that don't like to be touched. I think she tolerates it.
I'm looking for our pets at the shop. I'm trying to see if I have a quick photo of them. Of course, I have to have pets everywhere I go because that's what I do.
Well, yeah. And Dad wants us to bring Sally to the shop, he said.
Yeah, Gator loves them. Gator wants one of the snakes and one of the dogs to be at the shop each of the days he's there, he said.
Well, the thing with the dogs, he tends to make a mess. And
Well, that's why we would just bring, Vengeance. That way he's easy to control.
We don't need rainbow poop.
No, the acrylic would be very bad for him to swallow.
So yeah, it's my critters. My pretty Sally.
They're good critters.
She's very pretty.
I don't know where Velez is. I'm sure he's asleep on the couch somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure of it.
My husband had to take Hercules to the bedroom because he kept throwing his rock at me and then dancing around, or his rope at me, and then dancing around on the floor trying to get me to play.
So with Velez, we potty trained him with rocks. And it sounds crazy, but he used to love chewing on rocks. And so he would go outside and he would pick up a rock and he would just be all about this rock. And so I thought, you know what? If he pees outside, I'll let him have a rock. And that's what we did. Anytime he would go potty outside, he'd get to have a rock. So if he didn't potty outside, he didn't get a rock. And people would come into our shop and see all these rocks.
So that is our shop.
That's
pet.
a beautiful Oscar.
He's about 10 years old.
Aww.
He's in there with a huge plecostomus, huge. He's a bit of a dick himself. He attacks the glass when people walk by, things like that. But yeah, he's in a really big tank at the shop.
Do you feed him feeders?
No. So we were for a while, and we got some diseased ones that caused a lot of problems in our tank. So, and poor Matt, has to take care of everything. He grew up with fish and fish tanks and everything, so he knows how to do all that. And he said no more. So can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, my internet froze for a second. So he started getting him freeze-dried worms and shrimp and that kind of stuff, and he's eating that. And he seems to be doing much better anyway. His color seems to be brighter and everything else. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not feeding, I don't know that I want to feed the fish pinkies. Stephanie Disco Potato says you can feed them pinkies.
I just saw that.
Yeah. I mean, crickets would be okay because we have crickets for the tarantula, but the pinkies.
I kind of want to try that.
Well.
Yeah, I don't want to do that in my shop either. I don't know what kind of reaction. I mean, I'm sure the young guys would have a great time with that, but I'm not sure what kind of reaction the other customers would have with that.
Like when we would feed the fish feeders over at the shop when we had our tank there.
It was like a whole to-do. Like people would come in just because they knew that this day was fish day and fish
right.
would eat. We had Annie at the shop, and people knew, hey, Sunday at noon, Annie gets to eat, and they would come over just to watch me feed the snake. And I'm like,
right.
I love that Stephanie pointed out feeder pinkies, not human. That's a very good point. We should point that out because in the future, somebody watching this YouTube video might not understand that we're talking about rat pinkies and not human pinkies.
Oh
please
my
don't
goodness.
feed human pinkies to your fish.
They're useful.
Or snakes, or keep pinkies that belong to humans on humans. Please.
I don't know that Oscar though. You put your hands in with him and you have to be quick because sometimes he comes right after you. He's a rude little sucker.
I was telling that to Kelly. Kelly didn't believe me at first.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, stick your hand in there. She's like, I don't want to. I don't believe you, but I don't want to. I was like, oh, no, you need to.
He's an ass. He is.
Yeah, I'd never really known that about.
Yeah.
I didn't know that fish could be assholes like that.
Oh, yeah.
So we had a small little 30-gallon tank set up also as a coffee table. And we had 4...
piranhas.
Yeah, 4 piranhas in there. And we put in there like 3 or 4 goldfish. The goldfish freaking killed the piranhas. They attacked the piranhas.
What?
Yeah. Like, I was blown away. Like, in Texas, we can't have piranhas because they're against the law to have.
We can't here in Washington either.
But I was like, I never expected a goldfish to literally attack and kill. They didn't eat the piranhas. They just attacked them.
Yeah.
Like, they went after them in groups, and I was like, why aren't the piranhas going after the goldfish?
And then we couldn't find the piranhas until we looked in there, and they're floating on the top. We're like, fuckers, like they're missing fins and eyeballs, and we're like,
yeah,
it's supposed to be the other way around, guys. Like, you did this wrong.
Gosh. Yikes. I thought maybe they would, yeah. Maybe we watched too many movies.
Yeah.
Well, it is 11:40 over here, and I am getting hungry.
Yeah, I'm sure my family's probably wanting to eat dinner as well, and I'm in the living room and they're not making noise. They're all in their bedrooms. They're like, we're staying out of the way. So they're probably wanting to eat dinner as well.
Well, I appreciate you joining us, Margo.
Thank you for
having me
joining us.
on.
Thank
It
you
was
for
a pleasure. We got to
explaining
learn a
what's
lot.
going on in Washington, and that Washington's not all trees.
Right?
Yeah,
I'm
no,
excited about that.
we have desert. Yes, thank you for having me on. This has been fun, and anytime.
Yeah, come back anytime. We got all kinds of critters and things that we talk about, and it's just
Dogs
fun.
always.
At least something barking.
Singing in the background.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, you guys have a great night, and we will talk again soon.
Yes, ma'am. And as we
Everyone,
say
make
over
sure
here,
you call your senators and your
yes.
representatives. Make all the noise you can. Please be respectful. When you do that, we don't need any threats or any horrible things.
In every state. In every
state. Every state. And
The White House
and
especially.
DC. Like, just do it. Just call them, email them, tweet them. Be those annoying people. Be polite, but be annoying.
Go to your rallies. If you go to your rallies, go to support everything that you can do and support your local shops as much as you possibly can.
Exactly.
And I mean, like with anything else, if you can't make it to an event, share the event. make
Mhm.
sure other people have the option to go. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, as we say over here, we love you and we like you, and have a great week.
You too.
See
Bye,
you
guys.
guys. Arr.